everything going? Is everything going?
Oh,
I don't know either. Oh, yep. Okay, YouTube just kicked in. It says excellent connection. I don't know what's going on with the video feed though. What's going on with the video feed?
Susan preemptively hates us.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh, there it is. Okay. So we're live. Welcome everybody. It's Saturday night. I hope you all had a great weekend. 'Cause tomorrow's Sunday and everyone knows the weekend's over on Sunday. And if you haven't, well, go get fucked. We're doing, um, we're doing Red Dwarf episode ranking tonight, Farty. I think I just needed a break from the bullshit going on in the political climate, the bullshit going on in other things. And this stream is so bullshit free, Farty, that we're actually streaming on YouTube for the first time
Mm.
in months.
And let's see if we get up their fucking nose doing this.
Oh god, yeah. It'd be like, oh no, they were ranking Red Dwarf episodes. I can't have that. They didn't put my favorite episode in the S tier. Well, guess what? Choke on a dildo. I don't
Oh no,
fucking care.
Farty's attracted to CP Grogan. Oh, that's creepy.
Listen, no one's gonna judge you for liking a little extra foldage around your joint, okay? that's what you do in the bedroom, Farty. It's fine by me. I don't I'm your friend, but that doesn't mean I should have an opinion on your sex life. um yeah, let's start things off with the beginning.
Alrighty.
Um where would you put that episode and why?
The beginning.
Yeah. The episode, the beginning, the very first episode.
I'd say that's A, because
Okay.
it was a really good fucking, like, as far as first episodes go, it gets you fucking hooked straight away, like, pretty much.
Yeah.
Especially for the time that it was done. Like, because remember, this started off in the very late 80s.
Oh yeah. Um and we also have not issues. We also have well yeah, no, it was an issue. We also had the issue of Patrick Stewart, like at the end of the first season of Red Dwarf. He like fucks off back to London or whatever, wherever he, lives after filming the first season of fucking uh
Next gen.
Next Generation, and he's on the phone with BBC trying to get the shit canceled and trying to get Doug Naylor and shit like
Well,
sued.
actually, I've seen an interview with Patrick Stewart where
Yeah.
he regales the story himself, where he's like, "Well, and I turned this on, and I thought, this is a complete knockoff of what we're doing." And then I sat there and I watched it for a minute more, and
Yeah.
actually, I get it.
Yeah, he was like
He was about to.
I am like 100% going to call. Oh wait, no, I'm going to sit,
I was actually I was dialing my solicitor, and then I realized, oh,
yeah.
actually, I get this.
Yeah. He said he said he I think I remember him saying that it was like the funniest thing he'd ever seen.
Mm.
And in many ways, I think at least the first season of Red Dwarf, like, just beats the shit. It just overall, I think the first season of Red Dwarf just beats the shit. Like, it is the bully on the schoolyard, and in those first 6 episodes, yeah, tiny package, versus like the 12 or whatever episodes of the first season of Next Generation. And it just spanks the fuck out of it, right? Like Red Dwarf just comes in, little guy, wielding this giant fucking bat, bullies the hell out of Next Gen, and fucking walks off to do season 2.
The
Um,
irony of it also is that, like, Red Dwarf actually had 10 times better production quality than what fucking like set wise than what fucking Next Gen did, because, like, yeah, so
yeah,
like you get the special effects and you had the bridge section of the ship sets, but every time they still went to like a planet or something, it was still like a small room with like a single color backdrop and a couple of fake boulders in the foreground kind of thing. And it was just like they're only working in a 20-foot space, whereas
Oh
in
yeah.
like Red Dwarf, they'd actually still go out to a fucking quarry,
Oh yeah, yeah. They would regularly for the Sirens episode, they recorded almost the entire episode in the last few minutes of that episode entirely in a quarry at night. They didn't even have, if I remember right, they didn't even have permission to to film there. They just kind of
Probably
said,
not.
let's go do this real quick and get the footage and get the fuck out." Um,
Mm.
but where would I put um the beginning? I think I'd put the beginning at a B, to be honest with you. Yeah, it does hook you right away. Um, but there's a lot of things in it that kind of like throw me off. Like like the whole "See you later, alligator crocodile" song in the beginning is like, for me it's just like, okay, I get it. Like, we're not supposed to mourn people anymore because the hologram technology, whatever, blah blah blah. But at the same
you
time, huh?
you're celebrating his life, not death.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because we're not supposed to mourn people anymore. So let's, celebrate that they were alive and, that they
Mm.
were here. Um, and I like that sentiment, but there's a lot of it that just kind of puts me off about the whole thing. And I know it's important to the story later on because, well, what happens is everyone fucking dies. And except for Lister and somehow the cat, right? Somehow Frankenstein stays alive in the ship's hold, and they bring Rimmer back as a fucking hologram. So yeah, I know it like feeds into that thing. I would say B, very strong B, possibly B plus. Um, hmm, you're gonna have to seal it for me, Farty. You're gonna have to talk it up for me a little bit more.
Okay, so with the "see you later, alligator" thing, I kind of took that more as like because Rimmer references it later when he says
Right.
like Motorhead is now like classical music.
Right.
That's how far in the future they are. So like, people's attitudes and things have changed, and now music has different resonance with it. So like something like "see you later, alligator" could be like more of a sentimental thing to people in the future, as like something from the past where like he might have been thinking of his own like past relatives and all this kind of shit.
Right.
Just a more a change of the attitudes and all this. Like, so where they actually celebrate death instead of like someone's life instead of
Right.
mourning their death. A
Like
happy
in
song might actually be more poignant than fucking what we'd think they were.
right. And that does play a part in. Oh, we got some chats here. Hang on, let me get these chats real quick. Dester, how's it going? Let's see. Back on YouTube. Oh, ranking Red Dwarf, low A, high B. It's what I do at funerals now. Wonder what's considered edgy in their universe. Yeah, what would be edgy in the Red Dwarf universe?
Uh,
And we're not back on YouTube. We're just streaming on YouTube tonight. It's like a special occasion.
well, walking through holograms. That's offensive.
Yeah, that is edgy. Like, just to do it, doing it just to do it, and
Mm.
and I was gonna point out, like, yeah, okay, they do have the technology, and they're talking in, I think it was season 3, when they're talking about, oh, no, it was in season 2, where they're talking about in the episode "Better Than Life," where Rimmer's like all despondent and shit, and he just like, why me and shit. Like, I get the sentiment where he's coming from. So I'm not gonna dog on Rimmer for that. There's plenty of other shit to dog on him for. But like, there's that part where Lister's all like, um, yeah, Channel 27 has a hologram that reads the news. Well, appreciate you.
Wonky, funky, bloody channel groovy 7.
Yeah. We appreciate you hopping in, Dester. We appreciate you hanging out with us tonight. Dester says the beginning is a low A, high B. And if you're saying it's an A, right? I can be flexible. I can say it's an A. Um, but like the whole like song and dance thing is just like one example of the just kind of puts me off. Um, I don't feel like they flesh out the Kachansky Lister back and forth very well in this first episode because you had a very short time to do it, and they just didn't
Mm.
do it very well. I like the inclusion of what's his face uh, as Captain Hollister. You know who I'm talking about.
Oh,
The guy.
Norm Macdonald.
Thank you. No, it wasn't Norm Macdonald. It's something else Macdonald. Um,
Uh,
Norm Macdonald was the comedian that passed away recently, ish.
yeah, that's right.
Uh,
Well, they're both comedians, so yeah. Yeah, the bloke who actually, yeah, he actually played the fucking bloke who was in charge of fucking what's his retreat in Alien
yeah,
or
that's what I'm
Aliens.
saying. Is like he did some stuff after that episode of Red Dwarf, and like he was in a feature film like almost right away. No. Alien came first, didn't it? Alien was
Aliens, yeah,
what
it did come first.
77, 78.
No. That's the first one. He was the in the I think he's only in the extended versions of Aliens,
No,
where
he's
they
in.
have more on the what's his retreat, the fucking place that gets taken over by the aliens and LV four
Oh,
twenty
okay,
six.
yeah, no. He is in the standard version too. Like he's the head of the colony, and like you
Yeah,
see him.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a Mac
Yeah, you see him,
McDonald. That's his
Mac
name.
Yeah.
I don't know why I couldn't remember his first name. It was like the same as his last name. So I thought that was a really good like selection. They even bring him back in later seasons. And he's one of the few characters that does return. Um, one of the
The only
few.
reason why the only reason why I remember his name is because I'm related to the MacDonald clan
Right.
in from Scotland, but he's an MAC, not an MC.
Yeah, a different branch
Yeah.
of the family.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, you know what? I will concede that it is an A. Um, although slightly begrudgingly, but not by much. Um, I've got to get YouTube chat here somewhere I can see it. So there it is. Okay, cool. Now I can see all the chats without much problem. Um, so going down the list, um, let's go to I guess Future Echoes.
Yep.
Wait, no, that was Wait, yeah, that was Future Echoes. Where is the beginning? Where is the first episode? No, not on the bottom. No, not there.
So it doesn't tell you if you hover your cursor over it. Dang it.
No, it doesn't, which is stupid. But you know what? We'll make do.
Fucking, what scene did they pick?
That's a
Is
good
it even
question.
there?
Huh?
Is it even there? It
It
just doesn't look
is.
like there's enough.
It's some. It has to be somewhere in here. It has to be. Otherwise, they skipped it, or they just took a bad screenshot from it. Because there's a picture from Future Echoes, which I thought was it, but then I'm like, no, that's from Future Echoes. So I'm just gonna plop Future Echoes on A for now to take the place. Oh wait, here it is. Here it is. I found it. It's right next to the picture of the cat from Backwards on the top row, between Backwards and oh no, that's not it. That's from the episode. Lister was trying to become a chef or a cook to beat fucking.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's not it. Fuck. Okay.
I don't even think it's there.
We might be missing it. Okay.
I'm sure there's a whole bunch of them missing out of this.
There's like 60 something episodes.
Hmm.
And there's like 65 here, I think. So it might be missing like 1 or 2 episodes. So, oh, fuck me, dude.
12, 56, 60. Oh, my maths is shit. Um,
Not counting. Okay, hang on. What did I miss here? Um, Destier says. Um, I thought the first episode was called The End.
it is. Oh, it's the end, and then the ends with the beginning.
Oh
Um,
yeah. My bad. My bad.
but I think that. Oh no, that one down the bottom that just says the end and list is in front of the fucking stasis field. The stasis.
Oh, that is it. Okay, yep. Okay,
I got
that's
confused with the fucking because there's another one that's like the beginning or the end. It's like fucking way down further and
yeah.
shit, and it's
I
like
didn't even see it there. Thanks for pointing it out, Farty.
there it is. Yeah.
Not counting the movie. No. The movie's gonna get thrown in here somewhere. The movie is 1 episode. It is one long episode. They did it with the intention of breaking it up into 3 parts, but they couldn't get airtime or they didn't want to get airtime or whatever, and they just put it direct to DVD or Blu-ray or some shit. I don't remember the exact story, but
Mhm.
Okay. So now we'll do time slides, which I put it here. Time slides. Very iconic episode. That was what, episode 2? Or not time slides. Fuck. The second episode.
The second episode was the one where was it Lister wanted to get promoted so as he could
No,
outrank Grim.
that was a different episode. No. The second episode was the where they're like breaking the light barrier.
Oh yeah. What was that one?
Future Echoes.
Oh, that's
Echoes.
Future.
That's it.
Oh well, that's the one where next to that one that I pointed out to you with that Sheila. That's
Yeah,
Cat's not Lister's the yellow bloke in the yellow jumper.
yeah. I've got it right here. See,
Yeah.
see, folks. I know you can't. I know Farty can't see it, but see, Better Than Life. That's in season 2, I think.
Uh,
No,
Hang
Better
on, I'll
Than
just
Life
bring
is
up
in
a
season
fucking
2.
list of episodes.
So Future Echoes. I think Future Echoes is probably the strongest episode in season 1. That is a low S, high A for me. And none of these are like done until the end of the stream, because maybe we change our mind.
Okay, so we got the end, then Future Echoes, and then there's Balance of Power,
Yeah.
which is the one where he tries to get himself promoted. So Future Echoes is the second one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I know, Farty. I have it in my brain. Perhaps one of my favorite episodes, actually, which is going to be hard because I want to say it's an S. I want to say it's a low S, but I think it's definitely a solid A.
Yeah, well, this highlights the whole point of this whole show. It was that vastly different that even like the BBC producers just thought it was going to be just a shit knockoff of like Battlestar Galactica or fucking Star Trek or something like
Yeah.
that. But when they started looking at it, and it was like, actually, these are like completely different to what anyone's ever done before.
Yeah.
And the Future Echoes is a really good concept that's actually based in actual science, with time dilation. The faster you get to the speed of sound or speed of light, sorry.
Well, even at the
Um,
faster, even when you get to the speed of sound, right? There's still some time dilation that goes on. It's not,
very, very small.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
but it
it's not a
still does.
lot, but there's still some. Um, Dester
Well, not
says,
even that. Even like normal air travel, they reckon that like if you spend a lot of time just on a normal aircraft fucking flying around, that you'll actually does it gain or lose like fucking an hour or something like
it
that
actually depends
in your life.
on which direction you're going. If you're going
Yeah.
east or west, if you go east, you'll gain an hour, I think. Yeah,
Oh
if you
no,
go,
no. This is like overall your entire life. If you did this
yeah,
constantly for like decades,
yeah,
you'd end up getting or losing an hour or something.
yeah. If you go east, you'll be following the rotation of the Earth, and you'll be speeding your time relative to the Earth up. by however many increments it is. But if you go the opposite direction, and this is how they justified that bullshit flying against the Earth to make it spin backward bullshit in Superman 2, where he
Mm.
like flies against the rotation of the Earth and the Earth like spins backward in time. And this is why they use that as justification. Well, if you lose time, right? Like if you go back, your time will slow relative to the Earth during that travel. Or if you're like, Dester says, or like if you're near a gravity well, time is normal for you but sped up for everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dester says that Future Echoes was a strong follow up to the first episode, and I will agree with that. It was a
Mm.
really strong follow up. So what do you think, Farty?
Yeah, yeah, up there, a high A, low S, either one.
This is gonna be really hard to call, isn't it? Let's put it in S for now.
All right,
I think we can agree to disagree with that.
because the concept hasn't been done before.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because well, I don't know if it hasn't been done before, but it was the first to actually explore it,
Mm.
and like it's one of the few episodes that gets the science of the thing right.
Mm.
Um, and it presents it in such a way that it's easy for people to understand.
Yeah.
Granted, I need to rewatch Red Dwarf because I barely remember anything about it. I remember almost everything about it up until the end of season 8. And then everything gets fuzzy for me because Back to Earth is kind of like where everything starts to blank on me.
Yeah, I kind of dropped out at after the season after they got rid of the other Kachansky.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I did not like the recasting of Kachansky. I get why they did it because she either like retired from acting and she wanted to go on tour in the States because she did go on tour in the States after the first season of or after the first couple of seasons of Red Dwarf, and even makes an appearance in season 5 with the Sirens episode. Um,
I'm
but
pretty sure you'll find she was probably off doing some fucking period piece for the BBC. Like she ended up doing a whole bunch of those Sense
there
and
was part of
Sensibility
that
fucking
too,
nonsense
yeah.
shits. Hang on, CP
I had more
program.
than a few TBIs during that time. What the? Okay, Dastier, you need to calm down, sir. Um, but she's also like a pop singer, and like as far as I know, the band is still together and they're still making music.
Wee bunny Scottish lass.
Yeah, she looks good
No,
for her
she's still
age too.
working.
Yeah, she's still
Last thing
working.
she did was in 2020,
Yeah,
and yeah, she pretty much has been working the whole time. Just yeah, and it was legit Comedy Lab, something Skins,
yeah, she's
Waterloo
still with the
Road, Wee
band she's
Man.
singing with too. She's a singer in a band. It's fucking crazy, dude. She's still busy. She's like 70 years old, and she's still hustling her ass off.
Let's see, what did she do after the 80s? Let's see,
Hmm.
80, it was like 89 or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, Red Dwarf, 88 to 93.
Yep.
Scottish Passport, Relax, Father Ted, EastEnders. Yeah, that'd be it.
Yeah.
She would have been doing EastEnders. Jilting Time Barrett, Doctors. That's another TV series. Afternoon Play,
Yeah. And
CSI,
all
Plenty of
the
Kings.
while she was singing in a fucking pop band too.
Mhm.
It's crazy to me, dude. She's still just as active. She like hasn't slowed down. She had kids. I think I remember the article I read saying she had kids, and even when the kids were growing up, she was still working. She was being a mom. Um, she did a
The
lot,
fuck,
dude.
she was cute back in the day.
She
Jesus
still
Christ, she was
is, dude.
short and cute. Like she's looking a
She's
little old now, but
I
fucking hell,
dude,
she's just like
even
a little
even
fairy.
dude, even at her age, man, she still looks good for her age, dude.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm not into gilfs at all, but fuck, dude.
Yeah, she's definitely not a bad sort for her age. That's what
Yeah.
we'd say, Eddie.
So now we're moving on to Balance of Power. I think that was the weakest episode in the season. The concept was
Yeah,
great, but I think it was absolutely weak. Um, the whole
I feel,
concept of Lister trying when we know he's not going to follow through with it.
oh, yeah, yeah, that was another really funny fucking one when you first saw it. Um, and the whole premise of like, yeah, Rimmer trying to stop him and all that kind of stuff. There's the part where Rimmer changes his appearance
To look like a Chansky.
Kachansky,
Yeah.
and then like he changes back, and then the bloody Holly leaves him with one of Claire's boobs, and he's like,
Yeah.
he gives it a bit of a grope. He goes, "Yeah, obviously I've felt something you'll never feel."
No, that was before he asked Holly to change him back.
All right, yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. Well, no, that's right.
And then he's
He did
like,
get left with a boob. He's like,
"Holly, this isn't my
no hurry,
breast."
Holly, no hurry.
Yeah. Um it's really hard to place this one. I want to say it's a C episode.
Yeah,
It's almost enjoyable enough, but I I think it's C.
it's funny the first time round, and then like it sort of kind of draws out the second and third and fourth time you watch it
Yeah.
after you know the joke.
Right, because on one hand, Lister isn't gonna follow through. And when he does follow through, he's just gonna fucking fail it because he's a failure of a human being, and that's how they wrote him. And they get that really good in the first couple of episodes of the series. That he is a slob, that he can try as hard as he wants, but he's ultimately just a failure. And he's happy with where he's at in life because, well, he's got a plan and he'll do whatever he has to do to follow through with that plan. And he's almost admirable, right? Lister's
Mm.
almost admirable. And then on the other side of the coin, you have Rimmer, who is this weasel who will do whatever it takes to be the antithesis to Lister. A lot of the gags fall flat after that first watch on that episode. Yeah, they honestly do.
Well,
Um,
it's also the whole thing of the how would Rimmer, who's supposed to, he's been brought up with this leadership mentality his entire life, and fucking, he really hates being fucking subservient to everybody, and has this, but he thoughts of fucking grandeur about his minimal rank, like even the scutters outrank him.
oh yeah,
Fucking, he's the second lowest rank on the ship, but he carries on as like he's a fucking bloody corps commander or something like that. And the impending thing of like, well, now you're not even just the second lowest rank. Now you're fucking lower than the dude who used to be your fucking underling,
oh yeah,
and he outranks you because he can cook.
yeah.
Like that's how fucking useless your position is. If someone can cook, they're better than you.
Dexter says Rimmer just dedicated himself to be a hater in that episode, and I've met people just like Rimmer. Yeah, yeah. Rimmer is, I think, a very good reflection of the worst in humanity.
Well,
Just
I've actually seen people like that in real life where fucking cunts have been demoted and they
right.
just can't fucking take fucking being back in the ranks or having a, like, say for instance, I've known a cunt that got busted from corporal back to private and then having to fucking play subservient to his former lance corporal. Like some of them fucking hate it, but they're also
Oh yeah.
usually the cunts that let the rank go to their head in the first place and turn into tin
Yeah.
Hitlers. So
Yeah, and it's also like you also get kind of like a little bit of insight later on in the series when you know what? We'll talk about it later. We'll talk
yeah,
about it later when that episode comes up. Um so we're on was it Me Too right
same
after
with
that?
lower middle management. Same with lower middle management types. Yeah.
Yeah. Where you get knocked down and you just all of a sudden you're salty and you have that need to take it out on someone. Um,
Or you get what I had one day. I was up in Port Macquarie and I was sitting in this laneway waiting for my contract manager to get back to me because they'd loaded the truck arse end backwards and only had two drops. It was a long range job, so like it was only two drops and that was me back to Sydney. Fucking and anyway, while I'm waiting for the contract manager to call me back, this bloke who worked in the building I was sitting sort of like out the front of reckoned he couldn't get into the driveway, which he could, like lots of other cars could. You just had to go around the fucking truck.
yeah.
Um, and he decided he was just going to make a big fucking song and dance out of it. He got the kid from the fucking the dollar shop that I was delivering to fucking come out, little fucking 14-year-old kid. Sorry, sir, I don't know what you mean, what you want me to do. And this dumb cunt's fucking there demanding this little kid fucking, I want you to find out who he works for. I want you to find his boss, and I want you to find his company, and I want you to get him fucking fired. And I'm sitting there thinking, you're a fucking dickhead, mate, because we got First Fleet Express on the side of the truck, on the front of the truck, and it's giant fucking letters down the bit, then the side of the fucking pan with the fucking phone number there. First Fleet Express 131243 or whatever the fucking number was. And I'm just sitting there, you're a fucking asshole, mate. Who the fuck do you think you are fucking telling every other cunt what to do?
Oh
And
yeah.
it was blatantly obvious that like he's some little fucking manager, fucking accountant, fuck with a secretary and maybe another employee, and he thinks he fucking runs the bloody world. And it's like, go get fucked, cunt. I don't work for you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call the police. I'm gonna do this. It was funny too because like he was still ranting and raving when the contract manager got back to me, and this was back in the day when we had decent contract managers that'd look after you. And he's the bloke I was talking to, I can't remember his name now. This is like fucking 20 something years ago now. He's like, "What's that shit in the background?" I said, "That's that fucking dickhead I was telling you about. Like he won't. He's giving me shit because I'm fucking apparently blocked his driveway." He's like, "Well, have you blocked his driveway?" I'm like, "No, he can get in, no worries. Like three other cars have already done it." He goes, "Well, just tell him to get fucked then." I said, "I will when I get off the phone." And no shit, I got off the phone, jumped out the truck, full fucking corporal mode. Get in your car and fuck off. Don't you tell me what to do. You want to get in your driveway, dickhead? Get in your car and fucking move because I'm fucking leaving. And he gets in his car and he fucks off. And it's like, fucking piece of shit. The stupid cunt, though, fucking showed me exactly where he fucking worked, too. And I'm only an hour down the road from there nowadays.
Ooh. Uh-oh, Farty.
Mum lives in the same town and I have to go there a lot.
Don't get any ideas, Farty.
No, I've spent a hell of a lot of money on fucking nails in the last 10 years, though.
Oh, okay. Um, so I think we're on to Waiting for God now.
No, Balance of Power. Oh, hang on, did we just do Balance of Power?
No,
Yeah, that's right.
yeah, we did Balance
Yeah,
Power,
Waiting
yeah.
for God. Waiting for God.
I want to put it on F tier. I hate this episode.
I like the premise of fucking finding out that some other species has gotten everything wrong, because that's pretty much another tongue in cheek from Red Dwarf about fucking religion and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like when there was I think it was Stasis Leak where they're on the elevator and they mentioned that fucking they found the first page of the Bible. And
No, that was in Better Than Life.
was it?
Yeah, that was in Better Than Life. Cause Rimmer's sitting there and he's like trying to watch the news, and they're talking about to my darling Candy.
Oh yeah. They got the mail pod. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, or the whole premise of like, the complete misunderstanding of like, your own religion and shit, and then it turns out he's just an average fucking dude.
Yeah. If you're God, why that face?
Yeah.
Dester says it was an interesting idea, but kind of fell flat in execution. I like the idea, but it's not good enough for anything for higher than the low D. I'm not even gonna put it on D. I hate this episode. I think it was horribly executed. It fails to effectively build the lore of the cats.
Especially too when they go on to it and they expand it later on, and like they should have shown the story instead of just told it.
Oh yeah.
So like showing the other cats and then showing the two arcs that they went on and what happened to them. So one ran into a fucking supernova or something like that.
They kind of do with the book, but like at the same time, you're just showing me pages in a book.
Yeah.
I don't think it gets tier listed. I think it fails so hard it doesn't go on the tier. Um, Dester's saying D. What do you say, Farty?
D.
D. All right, I will acquiesce. I will put it in
Because
D, even though I think it's
because also we were trying to think of what would be a D. So yep, we've got one now.
okay. Um. All right, so I think now we're on balance of power.
No, confidence and paranoia
Oh, it
is number
is. It
5.
is. It is. All right. That's a D, automatically.
Mhm.
There's a lot of great moments in it. A lot of great moments, like you made fish rain happen. Oh, how did I do that? You were sleeping and it happened and it was your fault because of the pneumonia that you contracted and it mutated. Oh well, where'd all the fish go? Somebody ate it.
Somebody
Um,
ate them.
there's a lot of good comedic moments in there, but it doesn't really explore the whole um psychic mutation of pneumonia.
But it does highlight the mentality though, where like confidence is like, you see Lister playing his song and boom, 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 and then he's making it out like it's some fucking rock ballad or something like
Oh
that,
yeah,
and
for sure.
amping it up so you can see like this is how Lister hears it in his head.
For sure. And there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of good moments in it. It just never really connects those moments very well. I can be
I reckon,
talked up.
yeah, I reckon paranoia really fucking slows it down.
Oh yeah. The paranoia scenes are like completely mishandled. I think the
Yeah.
confidence scenes are mishandled, but there's enough like in the script to make up for it. Um, we're
Also, it's a product of its time as well because like the confidence bloke is a character you don't really see anymore. It's like that fucking
right.
comedy robot dude. That was all a product of the fucking 80s, where like the American with the bright white teeth and the clean cut and perfectly fucking manicured and
Yeah.
super fucking confident and all that. You don't really see those kinds of things anymore.
How are you tonight? Good. Um, where would you put it, Farty? Because I'm putting it in D.
It's low there, yeah, low, low, low.
Low D. Oof.
Well, either C or D. It's low.
Okay. Well, C. I put it in D. um, this is definitely the next. What
Me squared's next.
is it? Me squared? Okay. Well, this
Yep.
one's easy. This one's a B, I think,
Yeah,
because
it's not as good because of like I don't really get with conflict and shit and sort
right.
of yeah.
So where would you put it?
That's like around the C mark.
C.
It's drama for the sake of drama.
Well, I think they needed. I think they needed to do it. I think the episode was absolutely necessary.
Yeah, to
Especially
hi- to highlight the point that Rimmer is such a fucking vile person that he can't even stand himself.
right, but also it, like in the context of a situation comedy, right? Because Red
Mm,
Dwarf is definitely a sitcom, right? The sci-fi bullshit, that's all
mm,
secondary in my opinion. It's a sitcom first, and no one's
mm.
gonna change my mind on that. Um, I think a lot of the later Red Dwarf episodes, especially when you start getting an episode, season like 4 and 5, when they bring Hattie Hayridge in and they start leaning more toward this is a sci-fi show as opposed to this is a situation comedy show. Um, it starts to lose a lot of its luster and a lot of its flair. But for me squared is a B, and it's a B because in the context of a sitcom, well, what happens when you have two characters who are nearly identical in their behavior? Right? It creates for some tense moments, but it also gives the rest of the cast an opportunity to just go, "Hey, um, you're a dickhead. This is how you're a dickhead. You should learn from this, though we know you're not going to." And I think above all, it's well written and it highlights like what you said, Rimmer is such an insufferable annoyance that he can't stand to be around himself. Um,
Yeah, the only decent part of the episode is like right at the end when they do the bait and switch.
oh yeah, and the bait and switch is the best part of that episode for sure. But there, but it it just kind of brings everything together. It's like that final piece that like makes the whole thing look like a work of art that was actually created. Um, Destry says it looks better than what it is, especially if you've just powered through the last two episodes. Oh yeah, and especially compared to like the previous three episodes, I say it's a B
Hmm.
because it was a hell of a lot stronger than the previous three episodes.
Yeah, yeah, and it was we'll say like not so much the dramatic like the more drama, not so much the drama conflict thing. It was
Right.
I don't mind it when they do a bit of drama, like like some serious acting and shit like that, and
Right.
you get some insight to the characters. It was all the conflict leading up to the proper acting bit at the end. That's the thing that sort of spoils it.
Yeah. So you think C?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's definitely
Destry.
not an A.
What's that?
It's definitely not an A.
No, no, no. I think it's a solid B, to be honest with you. Let's see what Dester has to say. We'll use Dester as the voice of reason
Tiebreaker.
here. On its own, it's a mid C. He says. If you're just getting off waiting for God and confidence and paranormal, it's going to look better than it deserves. Yeah, that's a fair point to make.
Hmm.
Um,
It
so
is stronger than those.
yeah, so you guys are saying C. All right, we'll put it in C as soon as I find it again. Um, me squared. There it is. C. I thought we'd have our first B. In a marathon, it's a B. He says in a marathon, it's a B.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm at with it, because like the the whole like early episodes of Red Dwarf are like you kind of want to watch every episode in one sitting.
Because they do string it along as like an actual storyline. So,
Yeah,
because like even, like, with that power struggle, whatever it was, like the next episode, Crichton reveals, oh, and last week, fucking Lister tried to do this, and yeah, that was a laugh. They're trying
right.
to do the continuity.
Yeah. And there are places where they fuck the continuity and like make Red Dwarf into a completely different show. By season three, Red Dwarf is a completely different show. I think it's not the
Yeah,
same
like
show.
at one point there was only 169 members of the crew, and then there was
Yeah,
1,169 later.
yeah. On that smaller ship, it was the size of a football stadium. Like
Mm.
I don't know if you guys ever been in like even a football like soccer stadium, even a soccer slash football or American football stadium. They're it's not very big. Like you can only fit maybe a couple thousand people in there. But you also have to remember that some of the ship has to be like engine room and some of it is
I was just about to bring that up
sh-
because, like, later on, Rimmer references he went for a big excursion through the diesel decks that, he
yeah.
made it sound like it was a months long exercise.
Yeah. Like he took a whole vacation down there.
Mm.
And then they talk about in the earlier seasons they talk about there's like a shopping floor and like it's not all crew. And so you can't say that there was over 1,000 people, 1,169 people on board. When there's like basically a bunch of like empty space that is filled with like stuff and not people. So
Mm.
I don't know, man. Like it's not that big a ship to be honest. And then you got to figure they're a mining ship, so they probably got huge fucking bays, right, for all of the mining equipment they would need.
Well, the ship itself is stupid fucking massive. It's like
Yeah.
about the size of a small moon. It's just the parts where the humans occupy it that's not machinery spaces is probably the smaller bit.
Yeah. And that's kind of the point that I'm getting at. Is like 1,000
Mm.
people on board that thing. I doubt it.
Well, there's 2,000 people on an aircraft carrier.
Yeah, and you can fit like 800 people on an Airbus,
Mm.
but doesn't mean that those quarters are going to be um what's the word I'm looking
Spacious.
for? Thank you. I mean,
Ample.
I've been on a submarine. They're not exactly fucking roomy.
Oh, talk about fucking submarines just real quick. Fucking, you know that whole thing of like you can smell some pictures. There's one of the people I'm subscribed to on YouTube put up a
Uh,
thumbnail and they were talking about an Indian nuclear powered submarine. I'm like, I can just smell what that is. I can smell the inside of that from here.
yeah, the stale air, I
Curry
really
farts.
huh?
The thing would just be full of curry farts.
Oh god, yeah. You walk into a fucking sub that's stale air. Um I grew up in New York, okay? And
Mm.
there's a very famous ship that is docked in one of New York's fine harbors. You might have heard of it. It's called the USS Intrepid.
Yep.
Um and it's now a museum.
Mm.
And they had, I forget the name of the ship. I think it was the Kennedy. It was it was it was a
Kennedy or
diesel.
Midway, one of the two. It's a
Yeah,
diesel carrier.
yeah, it was a diesel. It was a diesel sub that they had. Um,
Oh no, I'm thinking of the carriers.
no, the Intrepid is the carrier.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, the Intrepid is the
Um,
carrier, and then I think it's the Kennedy that they had docked next to it. And I don't remember if they had just docked it there um for like display for a little while, but they took everyone on tours, and we got to see the
mm.
engine room, and we got to see we got to see the conning tower. Like, have you been in a conning tower on a sub? That is fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah, we've got an Oberon class plus. I think it's an old. I think it's a Bravo class Soviet sub sitting at Darling Harbour in Sydney. And
Yeah.
the Oberon, right? You used to be able to fucking use the periscope, and then they realised that the magnification on the periscope was that good that like they were actually perving through cunts' windows like a couple of fucking miles away and could actually see people getting undressed and shit. So they ended up fucking locking it off in a direction where he can't fucking perv on people.
But yeah, the point is like being on a sub is crazy. I that's how I found out. So a few months prior to this, I'd went to a fucking rock show and I fell in the mosh pit and I got my head stomped on real bad. I came out of it like fine, obviously. I didn't have to go to the hospital or for anything other than uh than minor trauma. They're like you might have a concussion, don't fall asleep, blah blah blah. You know the fucking spiel.
Mm.
Um and I think the worst I got was like just a little bit of laceration behind my ear from like being stomped into a rock that was in the ground. Um and I went into that sub and that is how I found out that I have that because of the rock show incident, we'll call it, uh that I have a minor case of fucking claustrophobia. ah.
Subs will do that to
Oh
most
yeah.
people anyways. It's why it's a voluntary service. And you'd be surprised how many people will sign up to be on a sub and just can't fucking hack for like 30 fucking seconds in it. Like, as soon
Oh
as they
yeah.
get halfway down the conning tower, they usually just crawling back
Because
up again.
everything is so close together, like those walls, and it like I not for nothing the proximity of those walls, like if you are hit, right, the proximity of those walls is gonna be a fucking lifesaver because you're not getting thrown around like too fucking far, so the chances of you actually getting hurt super bad are kind of low, unless, of course, like there's an explosion and you happen to be right next to where the explosion is, and that wall comes in at you. Dester says, I mean, it is kind of a giant metal coffin. Yeah, kind of,
It
yeah.
is. Yeah, that's actually like my problem with submarines. Like, and anything sort of similar to that, where like on the surface it's perfectly fine because, well, fuck, you can always just sort of evacuate the thing. But it's when you're submerged and it's a case of like you have a pressure wall, like you know that like there is a thin barrier between you and just fucking being liquefied instantly from pressure.
Oh, yeah.
And if that goes, it's there's no escape time. There's no chance to react. There's no nothing. You're fucking trapped there, and that's you done, kind of thing. And I kind of don't like putting myself in a position where I don't have an escape route.
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing that makes me
I
paranoid.
I mean, on the plus side, that does give you like that doesn't let you reflect on the fact that you're about to turn into fucking fish paste. Um,
Mm.
but at the same time, it's like, oh, okay, this isn't the way I wanted to go out, but whatever. You want to
Uh,
go ahead.
Well, that also comes from like like it's everything that I've done in my life, like with the army and the fire brigades, and even like driving trucks and stuff like that. There's always an element of always have an escape route, always have some place safe to run to get out of, or anything like that. So, like you're going into into combat, you always have like an out to retreat if you absolutely positively have to. You don't sort of get yourself stuck in a confined space like a fucking submarine. So with everything that I've been trained, and like say with the fire brigades, you don't go into a fire and sort of get say bushfires and stuff, and get surrounded and all this kind of shit.
Yeah.
You always try and have a place that you can bug out if you fucking need to. And then you put me in a submarine where I'm saying, well, I'm actively going into a place where I'm going against all my training and eliminating any escape routes and shit. And it's just sort of like the absolute opposite to like every fiber in my being that I've been trained, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's hard to go against that programming.
Oh yeah, for sure. um. So I think we're on season 2 now. Yeah.
Yes, episode one, Crichton,
Oh man.
which
Okay.
is an A. A, 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 A,
A.
A,
There's
A,
no
A, 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 A,
discussion.
A.
S. S. No, it's an S tier.
All right, yes, yep, all
Yeah,
right,
it's
I'll
a
agree
fucking
with that.
S tier. It's like we introduce a new character, which the show really doesn't need, right? We don't even know if this character is gonna stick around. He's just a passing character, and
Mm.
that one episode like does more for the entirety of the first season of Red Dwarf than anything else, right?
And the way it's done too is when they reintroduce Crichton later on, it's like, yes, he's back. Fuck yeah.
It's like, but unless you sit there and pause, um, that floating screen of text in season 3, you're not gonna know what the fuck is going on,
No.
and that's part of the joke too.
Mm.
Although, it's, uh, I have a love hate relationship with season 3. You want a
Mm.
good show of how rough a subtour is? Look at the original release of Das Boot. Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
for sure. Um, Crichton, 100% S tier episode. Um,
The
enough
jokes
said.
were brilliant. The way it was done was fucking awesome. The premise of like the robot just doing his job forever and ever and ever and not even realizing he's just effectively fucking working on dead people now. And
Oh yeah,
um, like was it mechanoid senility or whatever the fuck it was.
oh yeah.
Yeah, and
Um,
even like acknowledging like in the future where Liz is trying to break his programming and make himself his own person and stuff. They did that in that first one, but then they sort of had to redo it because they restarted Crichton in the next season where they bring him back, and it's sort of like, oh well, he sort of went back to default programming again and sort of reestablished his programming because of the accident that he was in.
yeah, and they don't really like explain it, right? They don't really explain the accident unless you stop the crawl text.
Yeah.
That kind of pisses me off. But again, I have a love hate relationship with season 3. Okay, internet took a shit. What episode are we on? We're just
Season
finishing up the justification of S tier for the episode Crichton.
season
Season
one
one
or
epi-
season
or
two,
season two.
episode one.
Yeah. Thank you, Farty.
Mm.
S tier, hands down. Not even a conversation. So now we're on Better Than Life.
Yep.
Um, I
And
think.
therein, that's another one where I mentioned that like they did different from fucking Star Trek, where it was like the 20 foot with the background, the shitty fucking. They actually went to proper
Nah.
locations and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Um, so Better Than Life. I think this is a B tier episode. There's a lot about it that doesn't work, but there's a lot about it that does work. The overall premise of Rimmer, like this this episode does what Me Squared couldn't do. And it shows that like no matter how hard Rimmer tries, he's always going to be a fuck up.
Mm.
But for like completely different reasons than Lister. Lister just kind of fucks up because like he's not really capable of going further than what he has
The
been.
superficial,
What's that?
the superficial.
No, I would say that Lister's inability to do something is more like a handicap that was just like built into him. He's just wired that way to like just kind of be a failure. Whereas Rimmer, like, he actively gets in his own way. And that's what this episode shows. And they do it in such a good way. Um, there is, of course, like the other stuff, with the cat and with Lister. But I don't think this episode is about the cat and Lister. I think when you look at it
No,
through
it's
the,
not.
huh?
And it's not. It's completely about rumor.
Right. When you look at it through the lens of this is a Rimmer episode, and I think they really tried hard to do right by the audience to make this episode like better than Me Squared. Um,
With Lister, it's sort of like where I say superficial. He's got a game where he can do absolutely fucking anything he wants, but he just goes to just like what he would have done if he had the chance in his own like life. So he'd
right,
just get a motorcycle and he'd fuck bloody Marilyn Monroe and he'd just go to a high tier restaurant. You know, he didn't actually improve himself or his
right. He didn't
circumstances and make
have many.
himself.
Right, and
No,
it's
he just went, oh, I'd just like to go for a ride on a motorcycle.
yeah.
What
He
do you do? Any cunt can do that though.
Right. He and Kat don't have any grand ambitions, and that's kind of what grounds them, right? They're kind of
Mm.
like, okay, I can relate to this guy. They don't really want for anything, right? Maybe a nice meal out somewhere, maybe go somewhere, and like a lot like the sentiment of that is good. I think a lot of the execution around that doesn't really like pan out. But the execution around Rimmer, who has all of these big ideas, these grand
Yeah.
ambitions, and like a lot of people see this episode as, oh, Rimmer's just failing. We're laughing at failing, seeing him fail. But there's another level that's going on that a lot of people miss. And I think what a lot of people miss on that other level is, well, Rimmer is human after all. The problem with him is that he just gets in his own way. And I think some of us can relate to that, right? I think people can relate to that. I think it goes a long way of making the character um not unlikable, but more like understandable.
Well,
It's
conversely,
a
where I mentioned with like how Lister create acts, you have a look at with Rimmer, and
yeah.
it is his like delusions of grandeur and all this kind of stuff. Where like he's top brass, at the head of the table with the rest of the admirals and all this joking and laughing, and then they're interested in his exploits, not fucking the other way around and all this.
All
But
right.
fundamentally, he knows that it's all a fucking lie. No matter how much of a delusion he tries to make it, it'll always collapse because fucking he knows that it's not true and
Right.
someone's going to find him out. And that was like with the outland revenue bloke and everything failing.
Right. Um You're absolutely right on that. It's like it is a classic textbook case of like imposter syndrome, I think.
Yeah.
Um it's like, yeah, he knows he's going to be found out, but like he does have those grand ambitions. Um it's a B for me. Like solid B, definitely.
Mm.
What about you? What do you think?
Yeah. Yep.
B?
Solid B.
Okay. Um yeah, I don't
Okay.
think much of
Three. Oh,
Duster says
sorry.
yeah, B. What's that?
Sorry. Yeah, you go. Sorry.
No, you're good. Thanks for the memory. This is a D. This is a D, 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 D. Unless someone can talk me out of it.
Nah, this one was drawn out. Like, I get the premise and all this kind of stuff. It was just too slow.
Not only was it too slow, like they tried to do that thing to make it more interesting, where they like cut up the episode and they rearrange it. Um, it didn't work for it. It
No.
was dumb, hands down. Nothing redeeming about it. It was a filler episode in my opinion.
Well, it was kind of pointless. It's one of those stories that nullifies itself, and then you're sort of like, what was even the point on telling it? Because it didn't really affect the whole arc of the series or anything like that. There's no
Yeah.
long-lasting thing. They never reference it again. So, like, Rimmer's never like, you remember that time you fucking, you know, bloody set, you know, molested my mind and gave me all these fucking weird thoughts and shit, you dirty rotten. They never reference that again.
Oh yeah.
Um,
It felt like a waste of time for sure. I can't even find the picture for the episode.
Um, let's see.
I'm
I
looking. I
think I
can't
did see
find
it.
it.
I think I did see it. I think I did see it.
I'm pretty sure I saw it. I just can't find it right now. You can never find any fucking thing when you're looking for it.
Fucking
Where the fuck is it?
good fucking question.
You know what?
Uh,
Let's just go to the next episode. We'll fucking find it when we find it. We already
rightio.
know it's bottom of the fucking barrel, so it's not going to be hard.
All right.
Um,
Stasis leak.
yeah, stasis leak. I just fucking saw it. I just fucking saw it. I want to get my mouse cursor over it. There it is. Okay. Wait.
Yeah. The
Wait.
green strip, the green lit strip
Yeah,
thingy. The list
yeah,
is in the foreground.
yeah. Okay.
Hang on. Waffle on for a sec. I just got to grab a handful of cigarettes.
Waffle on for a sec. Okay, well, I'll just take this opportunity to look for the fucking episode. Because I remember what the thumbnail was, and now I'm going to look for it. And there's nothing any of you can do to stop me. No, no, no. There it is. D for dumb, because that was the fucking hated that episode. Um, we have more episodes in D than in any other single category. That's not looking good right now. That's not looking good right now, guys. Don't care for the time travel episodes. Yeah. Yeah.
Fucking, it's not bad enough the fucking health department's fucking ignoring me, but they're actually turning me into a criminal now. The fucking dirty cocksuckers.
Oh my god. What
You
happened
guys are
now?
about, you guys are about to fucking get this, right? Because they've just changed the Biden wants to change the fucking laws with cigarettes and shit, and he's about to cause a fucking black market and an
Oh yeah.
organised crime fucking thing. We're already going through it here where tobacconists are getting fucking firebombed and all this kind of stuff because like the cigarette prices are that bad. The black market is fucking rampant. Now, I'm not saying that I'm involved in any of that. I'm just saying that my cigarettes don't come in packets of 25s anymore.
um Stasis Leak. I think for a time travel episode, it's okay. I would say probably C or B. maybe
This one's
B.
another good one because it's got Claire in
Yeah, but like, can we judge the episode, good just because Claire's in it?
it.
Like, if that were the case, man, every Claire episode would be S tier.
Fucking. Well, I always like the ones with Claire in it. She was a good perv.
Oh my
But he,
god, Farty. I just thought she was like fun to watch. Shit, dude. I had like an art. This is gonna sound super gay. I don't care. I had an artistic interest in her work. I'm not like a super
I
fan
just
or
wanted to fuck
anything.
the shit out of her.
I know you did, Farty, but you'd fuck a cardboard box if you were given the
A
the.
black snake with a fested ass only if you held its head.
Yes, Farty. I know. I was getting to something similar. That's a problem. Farty had too much watching her. Yeah. Um, Stasis leak. I'm trying to remember this episode in detail.
It's they have a leak in stasis where they can actually go back to just before the explosion and shit like that,
Oh
and
right, and they're like
it turns
arguing
out
on who they're
that,
gonna save. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh
and
man, D.
there's two storylines in it where Lister wants to go and try and see Kachansky, but then he finds out that another Lister from even further in the future finds a more permanent way of doing it. And then Rimmer's sending himself fucking mad by trying to tell him about the explosion and all this kind of stuff. But Rimmer's like thinking he's fucking hallucinating.
Yeah.
And the good bit at the end, the real mad, like I reckon the end is really good because then like all of these different timelines start coming in. It's like, oh, I'm the Lister from the future where the other Lister and and then like he's just like he just loses his shit and just goes, go
Yeah.
away.
I mean, there is that good scene where he grabs Hollister by the nose and then knees him in the fucking in the jewels. But
Mm.
I think honestly, this is a D episode for me. It's one of those what was the point episodes, right? Like they don't accomplish anything. There were some comedic moments in there, but this situation was just eh.
Well, one other thing I kind of like about it too is it was another play on. It was a very, very much different take on the whole time travel aspect.
Yeah, it was a different take. Um,
Mm.
you know
And it
what
was an original one
also
too.
yeah, you know what also ruins it for me
Uh,
is that they had an opportunity with the very last episode of uh of Red Dwarf. They did the Promised Land movie. They
mm.
had they had an opportunity to send the crew back in time to that moment where that Lister is getting married to Kachansky.
Yeah, they never fucking
Yeah,
what's he? Yeah,
yeah. So it's a D. It's a D for me. What about you?
yeah. It's a D. But if we're gonna do that, we're gonna have to make an even lower category for. Oh, actually, no, we got F, don't we? Because the
Well,
next one's
F
fucking
is we
F
don't
as
put it on the
fuck.
thing. F is we don't put it on the thing.
Okay, because well, the next one is like the one that I absolutely fucking hate.
What is that one?
Episode 5, Quig.
Oh, I love that episode. Why do you hate Queeg so much?
I just hated the Quig character.
Okay. I mean, I get it, but here's a chance for Holly to stretch his legs, right? We know he's gone computer senile, and they don't really explore that, but they do in this episode. And like in one of the rare moments where he's actually lucid, right? He creates a whole new like identity for himself. Puts the ship in a position where he like makes the guys think he's not fit for duty, which he kind of isn't, right? And then reinstates himself as this, entity that actually knows what they're doing and has a clear, vision and clear head on his shoulders. Undermines himself right? And we go on this, like, this is probably like a week or two that this is going on in like the world of Red Dwarf, and he's leading in this spectacular moment of clarity that he's got. He's leading the guys around and like showing us just what he could be capable of if his software hadn't gone bonkers.
However, the whole premise of him being senile is shat on by the whole fact that he's done this convoluted thing which you needed to be fairly intelligent to in the first place, and
Right.
sort of it shat on the whole senility thing because like it was a conscious thing that he did, and he only did it out of boredom after all, and
Well, yeah, he
or,
did it out
or
of boredom, but he also
effectively to also show the crew that fucking he's actually of but he need, they need him kind of thing.
right.
And if you sort of kind of that sort of
It wasn't more
like
about telling the crew that he needed him. It was more about telling the writers that they needed him. Because let's face it, like when they replaced Holly with Hattie Hayridge, um, and they took Norman out of it, like the show, like the quality of the storytelling that they could do with Holly, like dropped significantly, and that was going to be in the next season.
that's kind of Norm's fault though, because I've heard that like he was
Yeah, he was kind of a pest
trying to
on.
get more screen time, and fucking he wanted his face shown a bit better, and that's the reason why he
Right.
wasn't pixelated anymore. And like he was just a real prick to work with, apparently.
Right, yeah, he was kind of an asshole to work with, and I understand that. But to be fair, like it was justified because, well, he made the show kind of in a way. Like a lot of he got a lot of screen time, so yeah, I I am willing to go, yeah, maybe maybe not be a fuckwit.
Mm.
But I think Quig was a great episode. It's a B for me, like
Well,
honestly.
honestly, like it just more comes off as fucking. It's an unhinged part of fucking psychopathy that fucking they didn't really touch on, but fucking if sort of kind of like that happened, they were trying to do like the Hal 9000 from
Right.
fucking like, but he it's going psycho and all this kind of shit, but fucking like they
It's the
yeah, it just felt flat.
reverse. It's the reverse of uh 2001. It's like the
Mm,
exact opposite of 2001, and that's why I liked it.
mm,
It could have been a clever allegory for dementia, but they dropped it. Yeah. So like
yeah,
mental illness in the 80s, unless you
it was
were,
non-existent.
what's that?
It was non-existent. Back in the 80s, fucking even fucking PTSD and shell shock was still not really recognized,
Right.
even with like the military and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Like I remember Vietnam veterans in Australia, they were still fighting for shit well into the late 90s, all the way up almost to 2000, for fucking getting like proper recognition and all this kind of stuff for a lot
Right.
of the mental health disorders.
We're
And even now, I'm going through a similar thing where like the explosion that I was involved in, whilst the Israelis have had a lot of fucking experience with blast effect on humans and stuff like that, that shit just hasn't filtered down here at all. And when I mentioned that I was in an explosion, I get looked at like I got two heads later. And so you're still here, so what's the big deal? So,
yeah.
well, there's lasting effects off of that. And
Yeah,
because,
no.
well, I'm fucking talking to the doctor about it, and they're sitting there thinking, well, I went to university and who's this nobody telling me? It's like, do your fucking homework, cunt.
Right. Um I was going to say something but I forgot what it was. Thanks, Farty. Um So mental health in the 80s wasn't like, unless you were a doctor who knew about, mental illness and mental disorders, um and unless you were in the field of medicine, no, like nobody knew anything about it. Um and the whole, like, there the thing with senility is that you do have moments of clarity, right? And you do have moments of like, you can go days or weeks or whatever with clarity, And I think in some aspects this episode was disrespectful to, the mental illness, component of it going on. But at the same time, looking at it through the lens of the um the sitcom, right?
Mm.
It it kind of works, especially when you think of it as a reverse 2001. Instead of, shutting the computer off, right? We're trying to turn them back on.
To
Um,
give you an idea of how it was back then, I remember there was this story in the early 90s of this hospital in New South Wales called Cheltenham Mental Hospital. And fucking it got exposed because it was still doing the really old school fucking just short of lobotomy, but fucking they were doing electroshock
oh
therapy. They
yeah,
were
I heard
fucking
about
drugging the
that.
fuck out of people, and like they were just leaving people just fucking in a vegetative state that's like drug induced, and they were like just leaving them in their own filth. Like they'll just let them piss and shit the bed and fucking wouldn't clean it and all this. They're like. Then you look at like the same thing, like even up in the 90s in say places like Russia, where a lot of their mental homes were like they'd chain cunts to radiators and leave them there in rooms for fucking months and months and months and shit like that. And that's how they were still treating people up in the 80s.
Yeah. Destry says, I know guys who were in the Gulf, being told their Gulf War syndrome wasn't service related. Yeah, that
Mm-hmm.
was unfortunate. It doesn't
Yep.
help. The German incest freak Freud tainted the field of psychology. Actually, he didn't really taint the field of psychology so much as he, like, because he was right on a lot of things. Um, and a lot of his observations were spot on. The problem is that some of his lesser known works, some of his lesser known like theories and whatnot, were proven to be false, and that they were really fucking far out there. He was up his own ass on a lot of things. I agree with you on that. Um, Without Freud, though, a lot of what we have in psychology today, we wouldn't be making any headway in psychology without Freud.
Yeah, some of the out there shit. I did a course
Yeah.
on clinical and forensic psychology. Fucking, I didn't complete it, but there was one part that I read in there, and this is part of the thing that turned me off, was where Freud had established that um, each field that anyone sort of studies, they will always be like the preeminent fucking person in that field. You will never learn and surpass anybody who's been studying. So like, and it kind of sounded like you pick your own game, and whatever you make up is like pretty much thing, and no one can fucking say otherwise, and no one will ever be able to you know learn more than what you ever will, kind of thing. And it's sort of like you're just making up your own shit. We're getting onto the Gulf War syndrome. It's kind of that's the same thing as what happened on 9/11, where a lot of the firefighters were coming down with all sorts of stuff because they were breathing in all sorts of fucking noxious fucking shit. And now it's at the stage that so many of the 9/11 firefighters have died. It's now turned from the 343 from that incident alone. Now it's 686. It's doubled.
Damn.
Yeah.
Um, Dester, the reason you've had problems with Freudian sycophants is just that they're sycophants. Any like any sycophant will be um completely and entirely about one thing.
You'll find they're pseudo intellectuals who just want to drop the name and then hope that fucking people think they're smart.
Yeah, that is a lot of it too. So we're still on Queeg. I think it's a B, if only for the themes they touch on and how well they handle it for the information the general public has at the time. But what?
I'll I'll concede a B. I'd say a C, but I'll concede a B.
Okay. If you're saying C, let's see what Dester has to say. Low B. All right. This is gonna be a flip a coin moment. Where's my coin? All right. Call it in the air, Farty.
Heads.
It is heads. All right, Farty, you get ultimate
Which is
say.
really weird. Which is really weird because the old saying is tails never fails in New South Wales.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Well, we're not in New South Wales. We're on the other side of the planet.
That's why I said heads. See, it works.
I guess. All right, so C.
Yeah.
All right. Baby got his bottle. How does that feel, Farty? Fuck me, dude.
Okay.
Now we're on parallel universe. I
I did like this one.
I
really
like
like
this
this
one, but for the dumbest reason.
one.
I like this one because it's the end of the season, and it caps off the original, what I think is the only true version of Red Dwarf, is those first two seasons, and and it does it in a way by calling back to
Time,
Future Echoes.
that's it. Yeah.
Um, and it's the only reason I like it. It's the dumbest reason ever. Is that it's the end of the season. It is the end of actual Red Dwarf. And now we're going to start going into. Well, it's the same cast, but it's a completely different show. Um, I don't know where to put it. I want to say it's a B.
Yeah. It's definitely a B. It's not an A, but it's definitely a B. It's a fun one because it does have that continuity part of it where they're referencing an episode and it's actually progression of the storyline.
Right.
But it also seems like one of those sort of like end of work party kind of deal kind of things,
Yeah.
where like, and even you can get this in sort of certain services and stuff like that where you're doing the work, but all of a sudden now you can let your hair down and you fucking you're with other people in the thing, but you're not doing the thing that you're supposed to be doing. You're just fucking relaxing and just having fun and all this
Oh
kind
yeah.
of shit, and
Yeah, for sure.
seeing how the other live and fucking yeah, it just sort of it's just a lot of broken tension, a lot of relaxation, a lot of fun. Just everyone's just fucking having a laugh. And to see like what things would be like if something was different. So like obviously the female versions, but instead of like another cat, they've got a dog.
Yeah.
It would have been interesting to see what their version of a Crichton would be like. Um, so it'd probably be like a slave, a bloke who was a slave instead of like a fucking a robot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, yeah.
Um,
I just really dig that sort of premise.
Destry goes, honestly, I think they didn't know if they were going to get another season. They weren't going to. They knew for certain they weren't going to get another season. It's even
Yeah, this got canned
on the
like a dozen times over the years.
What's that?
This got canned a dozen
Oh yeah,
times over the years. That's why it started in the 80s and it's still going now.
Yeah, it was canceled. It was canceled after season 2. They said that's it. You get 2 seasons. And that was the norm and everyone was like, "Yeah, okay, cool." And that was even in the commentary track on season 2. They were talking about how like this was going to be their last episode and they weren't going to do any more. And I'm like, "Yeah, I could see it. That if Red Dwarf ended with just 2 seasons and it still had like that cultural impact that it did in those first in those only seasons, I think it would have more impact, to be honest with you. Um and I think the American version that they tried to pilot might have had, might have had better legs if they just did the 2 seasons for the UK and then did, a season or 2 for the US. Because I think 24 episodes of a US based Red Dwarf would have been fine. But they couldn't do US Red Dwarf and UK Red Dwarf at the same time. It just wasn't going to work.
It was Americanized too much.
I
I've
agree with
finally
you
got to
on
see
that.
the full episode, the full pilot episode, and it was just it just didn't ring the same. And they knew it
I
at the time too. And in hindsight, They should have just gone with the British version and just left it at that, because that would have been just as way more popular,
I
because
agree
it is
with
now.
you to a certain extent. I think the casting was all wrong. I think
Mm.
the casting was the biggest part of it. The script they had was decent. The script they had held some weight.
But
And
they also changed Lister too much too.
they
Like
did. That's
he wasn't the slob. He was more Americanized, and they don't like taking. You guys don't like taking the piss out of yourselves like the Brits do, and that was the big
right.
downfall of it.
Um,
Because we can have a laugh at ourselves, and you guys take yourselves too seriously.
and that was actually Doug Naylor who wanted to change Lister for the American audience.
Well, he had to,
Yeah.
because like that was the thing. Like he was fully on understanding of the different nuances between American and British
I
comedy.
think what actually doomed the show more was changing Rimmer as much as they did. Because
Yeah.
Rimmer was more of an antithesis to what he was in the UK version. Like, yeah, he was smaller, he was spindlier and whatever, but he had a good head on his shoulders. He was well articulated. You know, he was like kind of a beacon for command. And there
Mm.
wasn't any real like they they went
They just
with the situation comedy thing still,
mm.
which would have worked, but they kind of just threw everything else out the window.
The only thing they got right was the guy that played Cat. He's fucking good.
Oh
Like
yeah.
he was also in he was the demon in the Buffy episode One More Time with Feeling.
Yeah. Um
And even Danny Don John Jules, when he found out that that guy was playing Cat, he was like, "Holy fuck, he's gonna play me! Wow, fucking, that's my fucking bloody
yeah.
my idol. Fucking, he's gonna do me." And the other bloke was like humble as fuck, and he's like, "Oh, this guy is such a great. Oh, I'd love to play this guy." And it was like, they were both sort of seeing each other as idols and stuff, and they were just the two perfect people to play those two parts.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Um,
It's one of those things where like if they had just done the 2 seasons of the UK Red Dwarf and they really leaned into making US Red Dwarf a little more like it didn't have to be a whole lot more. They they just had to make the characters like close enough to their UK counterparts. The
mm,
only character they didn't change at all having Robert Llewellyn as Crichton again.
yeah,
That's it. And it just didn't work the same way.
no,
Like I honestly stand by this statement that the one factor that could have saved Red Dwarf US is if the Rimmer character was as insufferable as the UK version.
I just reckon they should have just released the British version, because, like I said, in
They did.
hindsight now,
It was on
everybody
PBS.
fucking yeah, but like yeah, everybody fucking sees it now, and they're like, "Oh, this is fucking awesome! This is fucking awesome!" And there's none of that fucking concern about fucking, oh, is it going to fall flat for American audiences? Because it turns out American audiences got it anyway.
Yeah, it was broadcast on PBS. And part of the reason they changed it, and I think I remember reading this as well, is part of the reason they changed it was because it was on PBS. They wanted to try and offer something different a little bit. And they didn't really need to do it. And I agree with you on that.
No. And they do that with a lot of things. Like you
Yeah.
guys had your version of Top Gear, and that didn't last anywhere near as long as the original. And now
But
everyone just wants the original. You
yeah.
know,
We did have a pretty successful version of Being Human. I don't know if you've ever seen that show.
no,
It's a
we didn't get that out
show.
of you.
What's that?
We didn't get it out of you.
Okay. It was a BBC show, and it was a show about a vampire, a werewolf, and a ghost that all share a house. The house originally belonged to the lady who was a ghost. She died in the house. She got trapped there, and then they have like portals or some shit where they can like leave the house and like go hang out with each other or something. I don't remember exactly how it works, but they can like leave the house and shit. But Um, it was decent, and when they did the American version, they stayed pretty true to it. Um, so yeah, let's get back to this tier list before we divert anymore, because we can just
Right.
say fuck it. Parallel
Right now,
universe. Where did we say we were putting that?
B.
B. Oh yeah, I already put it.
Solid B.
Yeah. So we're on season 3 now, and
Backwards.
oh, I fucking hate this episode. Uh, I think this is another what's the point episode. They even picked a picture of Cat when his piss is going back up his cock.
Or was it shit back up his ass?
No, he was pissing in the field. Um, I hate this episode. I want to hear what everyone else has to say about this episode.
I liked it because they again getting back onto like the comedic science aspect of it, because the big crunch is an actual working
Yeah, it's a
theory in
working theory,
theoretical
right?
physics. Um, but now it's sort of kind of looking like the universe is still exponentially accelerating. So this whole crunch thing, we're not slowing down.
Right.
That might not actually be a thing. More
Well,
probably a fantasy of, or the fucking daydream of somebody's, more than anything
well,
else.
they do agree that at some point the universe can only get so big, and as the expansion, as the expansion makes everything wider and wider, the actual amount of heat in the universe that there is becomes, more spread out and less effective. And so at some point that that heat energy is just going to stop being produced, and because of it everything's going to just slap back together. But um they think it's going to happen in in a more rapid way than just like, oh well, it's just time moving, the same but backwards.
Well, that's the problem with the premise of infinicy, because like there's several different types of infinity,
Yeah.
right? There's not just one definition of it. And
Right.
when you're talking about astrophysics and stuff like that, when they say something is infinite, it is too far to even bother to calculate.
Right.
Um, it's that long that it may as well just last forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. And as far as we know, that there is
It's
zero
called
ending to the spatial fucking thing that the known universe exists in.
right.
And we're
It's
actually
called
starting to see
practical
now,
infinity.
yeah, and we're actually starting to see now outside of our known universe, simply because light's now gotten to us and we've got better sensors and stuff to detect more subtle fucking nuances and things like that. So what we thought was infinite has now pretty much been exponentially increased.
Yeah.
And to the best of what we know, we're actually accelerating into this, and that acceleration does not seem to be slowing down at all. In fact, we're actually getting faster and faster. So this whole thing of like heat, death, and entropy, like as far as we're concerned, doesn't actually exist, because we never will be there to see it, and we can't even calculate when that will be. Um, so for all we know, this could just literally go on forever and ever and ever. You could come back in 100 billion years from now, and things will just be still going faster and faster and faster. And you can go as far into the future as you fucking want, and it'll just still be going
Yeah.
and going and going, and it'll never ever stop. And that does come from some people don't have an actual grasp of like the whole time that's actually been, because it's such a large scale of what's happened,
Yeah.
to actually get an actual grasp of like how long things are going to be, and how infinite things are. Like some
Yeah.
people do say that there must be a start and there must be an end, where you got to grasp the extremely simple premise that there was never a start and there will never be an end.
Yeah, and
And
that
how
I
do you how
think
do you
is
how
a
do you yeah, how do you fucking wrap your head around that?
Yeah,
Just that little premise itself.
I don't think the human mind can comprehend it. He says, and that's the cut of it. You'd have no way to accurately measure it. Yeah, you wouldn't.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So where does
So
that leave us
so
on backwards?
um well, I liked it because of it's the premise of like well it's the explanation of the big crunch and having the episode where everything was like everyone was working backwards and all this kind of stuff except
Right.
that these people are in that little time dilation spatial thing and
Yeah,
then
and
there
they're
was the reverse
backwards
type.
relative to the people in that universe.
Yeah, the unrumble, and all that, and I guess it's probably also I got sucked into that fucking. What did that bloke actually say when he came in and fucking had a go at them and all this, and then you finally find
Yeah.
out a few years later that he actually did say something that was like, if you'd reversed it, you
It's
could
like,
actually
what
hear it.
kind of geek would sit here and watch us backwards just to figure out what I'm saying?
Yeah, you were a sad fucking loser. You live in your mum's basement. You sad, sad, sad person, and this kind of stuff is
Yeah.
basically telling the audience off. Which is another funny thing that like Red Dwarf does quite a bit, and we'll get onto that with fucking
Mm,
Back to Earth
yeah.
later on.
Um. So where would you put it?
I'd say it's a B. It's not like the absolute
Mm,
best. It's a fucking strong one, but yeah, it's up there.
let's see where Dester would put it. Low B. I'm gonna say it's a D, but I'm willing to split the difference and put it into C.
All right.
I think that's the best compromise I can make on any episode from season 3. I just didn't like this season like almost at all. Um I think the only good episode of this season was Marooned. And that's well the episode we're on now. Marooned.
I actually thought this was slow, but it was still funny as fuck, especially the dog food scene.
Uh I liked it for other reasons. I like the fact that Rimmer and Lister put aside their differences to try and help Lister survive, right? Because Rimmer, he's a hologram, doesn't matter. They can just reboot him on the ship. Lister,
Mm.
can't really reboot him, not unless you want to kill off Rimmer. But the whole reason Rimmer is there is because Lister's alive, and Rimmer is the support dog, so to speak, for Lister, and that kind of like subtle dance, so to speak, is in the background, in my opinion. And Rimmer is sitting there because like if Lister dies, there's no reason for Rimmer to be around. What?
Well, I
Fuzzy.
just remember the first time I saw it, and that dog food scene was one of like those moments where you were just fucking crying laughing,
To me,
like
this
you
isn't
were.
dog food. It's a piece of prime fillet steak.
And they zoom right in on it, and like you just see like it in its full fucking glory going in his mouth, and he eats it. It's like now I can see why dogs lick their testicles, and it like just him just like going to eat it was the funniest fucking thing at the
Seeing
time, right? You were literally fucking like choking, fucking laughing. You couldn't fucking breathe. It was that fucking funny.
seeing Rimmer twist his face up, right? Seeing Rimmer twist his face up, I'm sure it'll be delicious, right?
Mm.
Um, it always amuses me the fact how holograms have an H on their heads. Yeah, yeah, that's amusing. I'm gonna say B for sure. Not quite an A,
Yeah,
but I think it's
high
the
B.
only good episode of season 3 in my opinion. Might change, but we'll see, right? Polymorph. Oh Christ, I hated the polymorph episodes.
It was good for like a reoccurring threat kind of a thing because
Yeah, but it wasn't really a reoccurring threat. It was two different threats.
the best part of it was when fucking Rimmer turned into a hippie and he's like, now we've got to try and find the name of the place. Is now we could call ourselves the coalition of the interbred species of the itinerant, but the only problem with that is the abbreviation is clitoris.
Yeah. Um.
But that was also another product of the time too, because you and Desta, I don't know whether you guys would get it, but like that was sort of like a play on like with the young
Yeah.
ones, how you had those hippie uni student fucking you know, like they could go and argue or advocate for the Nazis to be protected, kind of thing. You know,
Yeah.
um, like the cocaine hippos of fucking bloody Pablo Escobar, right? They've been released and now they're in the Amazon rainforest and their shit's turning the water into fucking into algae and it's killing the fish, which is going to ruin the ecosystem. But there's some stupid fucking hippie cunt in America that's now personified them and now giving them human rights and all this kind of stuff. So now the fucking Colombian government doesn't know what to fucking do. They don't know whether they're going to cull them and get sanctions from America because they've killed persons, you know, that kind of shit. But like
Yeah.
realistically, you need to fucking get rid of them because they're not only causing a fucking environmental danger, they're actually like fucking like they're pissed off tanks, right? They're 400 fucking pounds of like 400 or 4 tons of fucking pure bloody muscle. They're almost armor plated and they will fucking kill anything they can fucking catch and they can run at 40 fucking miles an hour. You just don't want them there.
Yeah. Dester says polymorph is like the monster of the week if they lost the monster of the week.
Yeah.
I have to agree with that. I thought the episode was boring. Um, and I'm trying to remember. Okay, yeah, that was the episode where it wasn't the emotional vampire polymorph. It was just the regular one. And
Oh,
like,
it was also the introduction of Dwayne Dibley.
no, that was this polymorph too.
Well, this is the progenitor to Dwayne Dibley
No, that
because
was
it was
polymorph
the
too. Because
yeah,
polymorph.
no, it was Cat still being the opposite to being Cat, but then they refined it into an actual character of Dwayne Dibley in the next one.
Was it? Was he
Yeah,
sapping? Oh, right, right, because he was sapping
yeah,
out
he was dressed like
personality
a
traits.
yeah, he was dressed like yeah. Cat went from being like he's prim and proper. Now he's a bum with all fucking dishevelled hair and he's drinking and all this kind of stuff. But then they sort of like instead of continuing that character, the next time with Polymorph,
Yeah.
they sort of refined it a
Okay,
bit
I
and turned him into
remember.
Dwayne Dibley.
Yeah, I'm getting the two episodes confused because they're so fucking similar. It's
Mm.
like, and that's another reason I hate this episode because like it just let's just do this episode again, but sort of kind of different. Alpha
Well, the
Betty
next one Dwayne
Spaghetti.
Dibley, yeah, the next one that Dwayne Dibley's in is the Despair Squid.
Yeah,
Mm.
I really don't like this episode. I want to say it's a D.
I'm going to defend it and say it's a C.
Uh, man, you're okay. Fine, we'll say C. We'll say C. I still think it's a D. A Polymorph 2 is definitely a D.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that later. Hang on. Just, why don't you keep the crowd going and I'm gonna water my cat real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, this one actually I got an opinion on, which is episode 4, Body Swap, and or actually, like this is what I was mentioning before, where I don't mind them getting into a bit of serious acting, drama-wise that way. I thought that was pretty well done for considering that you've got comedians who aren't typically like proper actors who are more come from the stand-up sort of side of things, but now you're trying to get them to do like each other's mannerisms and things like that, and I reckon they pulled it off quite well. And it sort of kind of even works better when you got Rimmer's voice over Lister's face, and just the expressions that Lister is making just makes him even more fucking like a piece of shit. And I reckon Lister playing Rimmer makes Rimmer even more of a fucking cunt, pretty much.
Did you
Um,
did you start the next episode without me, Farty?
yep.
Uh oh yeah, it is body swap, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. Um, it's at best a C.
Yep. See.
It's at best a C. There's like no discussion on this. I think.
No,
Um,
well, I was just mentioning, I like the whole aspect of them doing some serious acting as opposed to straight up comedy. And then when you get comedians who typically aren't actors who do serious roles, like it's kind of
yeah.
a bit better. Like I kind of like that out of it. say like the
Mm.
Tim Allen character in Galaxy Quest, where there's that part where he admits to the aliens that it was all like a TV show and a lie and all that kind of stuff. And oh, fuck, what was his name? The guy who played the fucking bad guy in bloody Die Hard, fucking
Oh, Alan something, Rickman.
Alan Rickman. Yeah, when that scene happened, Alan Rickman went, "Holy shit! I think he finally is acting," or something like that. It's sort of. I don't mind it when comedians be serious every now and then,
Yeah.
and I reckon they did it well with the mannerisms and as I mentioned that like Lister Rimmer's voice over Lister's face just made it look even more fucking like he was a shitty person.
Oh yeah. Um, where the I there it is. So C, yeah, C.
I was asleep, okay? And then Percy comes in here and puts a bag on my face, and I go the line.
It just showed like even in the episode shit uh give me a second here, my brain cells are working, I promise. I think it's in season 2. No, it's in season 1 where no, it was in Queeg. It was in the episode Queeg where so it was in season 2 where where Chris Berry was doing voices. Yes, you do hear water. That's my cat. She won't drink out of anything but the fucking faucet. Um,
Oh
which
yeah, and his bloody his personalities were swapping. It was
yeah.
Brannigan, the ship's fucking whatever it was.
There's
Oh,
a
the
point I
shuttle
want to
was
make.
late.
I'll be right back though.
Yeah, where he started going.
Oh, the shuttle was late. Oh, the shuttle was late. The usually so good. Oh.
Yeah, fucking. I'm not entirely sure where it was going with that one, but yes, I remember the part where he's referencing the different voices and stuff like that. But it does, like, this show does give them a good thing to
Okay.
like, check their chops. I mean, like, fucking Chris Barry, he actually was fucking known for his impressions and his stand up
Right.
before he actually got the job, and that was part of the reason why he did get it.
Right. Although he did, he auditioned for Lister, and they're like, would you play Rimmer? He was like, yeah, sure, why not? And the
Mm.
guy that played and Craig Charles auditioned for Rimmer, but they wanted him to play Lister.
And it's funny because Chris Barry kind of got typecast because like, another show that he did was called The British Empire.
Yep.
And he plays this really fucking anal bloody manager of a local fucking sports center in Britain, and it's like,
He's also
again, yeah, again, it's like he's like delusions of grandeur in his own little menial position.
yeah, he's also kind of the same character in the Tomb Raider movie with what's
Yep,
her face, Big
yep,
Lips. I don't know her name.
yep,
I don't
yep.
really care. Um, but here's the great part about that part is that Chris Berry, like, he did, like, when you look at the Queeg episode, like, he was doing like spot on. He sounded exactly like fucking Craig, and he sounded exactly like Norm, and he sounded exactly like fucking oh shit, his name, the guy that played Cat. I forget his name.
Danny John Jules.
Yes, Danny. He sounded like all of them, like fucking spot on. It was crazy.
Well,
Um,
that was the thing in Body Swap. He was
yeah.
actually doing a Lister impression, and they just dubbed the voice over because, well, they just wanted the voice. But he was actually doing a spot on Lister
Oh
impression the whole
yeah,
fucking time.
yeah, I know. They had to do like a continuity thing, so they just dubbed,
Mm.
which again, like a lot, the dub just does not work in the episode. It just does. It
Yeah,
takes me out of the episode. Like the every fucking time they speak, like it's just the mastering on it is so fucking stupid.
yeah. Well, I
Um,
think that was part of the point of it that they did that just so as it kind of did look a bit B grady ish.
yeah,
And
I
then the
guess.
best way to describe how Chris Barry was acting acting out the Lister part was like how they say that like in Star Wars when they're using lightsabers, the actors will still do the even though they're going to dub the effects over and they get told to stop doing it.
Yeah. Oh boy. I think we're on to time slides now.
Yep.
D.
This one's a good one. Love
Yeah.
this one. Fucking brilliant.
Oh, why is it a good one?
Oh well, it's just the references and stuff like that they do. Like the funniest part in it's where Lister goes off to Nuremberg and steals Hitler's briefcase, and you see the footage and he's standing there like, don't listen to this guy, he's a total fucking nutter. He's a bloody big nonce too. And then he steals his bag, and then there's a reference to Colonel von Stauffenberg, who was famous for one of the assassination attempts on Hitler. And then like they're sort of like, fuck, what do we do? And they just kick the fucking bag back into the photo.
Yeah.
um,
I'm not a fan of the episode, like at all, because for a lot of the same reasons you like it, I don't like it.
and again, it's another one of these ones where
It's a really
unlike
polarizing
Star
episode.
Trek, well, unlike Star Trek, is another one where they went to actual fucking locations instead of just having the set.
Yeah. I think. And this is another one, like, Lister also married a supermodel on that episode, yeah. Sabrina Mulholland Johnson, or whatever the fuck her name was.
Sabrina Hollinger Jones.
Yeah.
Fucking that the song
There it
when they're
is.
pulling up to that mansion there, he's got cash. That Lister sung that.
Yeah. He's actually a really good, really talented musician.
Yeah.
And like he was in a band for a while. I think the band broke up.
He's got his watch, and a file of facts so he can collate his facts. He's got cash. He's got money.
Yeah. It's a shame though, because like every interview I've read was like, yeah, back in those days he was kind of a prick to work with, and he was kind of hard to work with, and like half of the cancellations were because they couldn't fucking get Craig Charles to agree with shit.
Hmm.
Well,
he even got arrested back in the day for something.
Yeah, for drugs.
Remember? Yeah.
It was like right after like a family member died, and he like went on a fucking bender. Where do you want to put this episode?
A B or a C in the middle.
Let's see.
I'll concede a bit.
I want to make it a D, but I'll put it in C. Destry says C. Yeah, C. The Last Day. No, this is a good episode actually.
Yep.
I forget
Yep,
about
I
this
like
episode.
this one.
It's not whether or not I like the episode. It's a good episode. It's like it's a lot of character building for Crichton, something that we didn't get too much of. He had just kind of like haphazardly slapped, we were still getting used to Robert Llewellyn in the role, I think. And I think this one kind of, this episode kind of made me embrace Robert Llewellyn as Crichton. Because, like, I was all about the other guy, the Ross dude, who ironically was also the voice of Talkie Toaster. But I think it's a great episode. I think it's an A.
Yeah, I really like this one because it's like more world building that's outside of the ship. So like now you're learning the ins and outs of Diva Droid International and fucking like there's another company other than the JMC and fucking like what happens with droids, or mechanoids, like they have an expiration date and the company will just send you out the replacement and fucking
if the original robot doesn't take himself apart and turn himself off, well, the new guy's gonna do it. Yeah, that's definitely an A for me. It's not an S.
It's an artifact. And it's also social commentary too, because of like things nowadays sort of you know, they're renowned for like once the warranty runs out, their longevity is pretty much on a on a countdown kind of thing, and this has planned obsolescence already involved in it.
Oh yeah.
And it does make more sense too, because of like, well, how come this thing's lasted 3 million years? Well, because it's fucking out in the back of fucking buggery, and it's taken this long for his replacement to show up.
Yeah. It's. I don't have anything to say about it. It's a great episode.
Yep,
Um,
eight.
the problem with this is like people think I hate on shit just because I hate on things, but like no, there's like layers of shit to it for me, and like I can't really talk about the things that I think are good because you wouldn't get it if I like not you farty, but I'm just saying people in general wouldn't get it on why like if I suggest that I enjoyed something and why I think it was good or bad. Like I can enjoy something and it still be fucking horrible, and I can hate something and it would still be fucking a good movie. Like I hated Alien Romulus, but I think it was a decently put together alien movie. It was a proper fucking horror movie. And I was shocked by it, but I fucking hate it.
Hmm.
I can't tell you why
Another
I hate it, but I do. I hate everything about it.
another instance I liked about this too is that they do reference all of this kind of stuff later on, and the bloke from that does the announcement from Diva Droid International is played by
Robert
Robert
Llewellyn.
Llewellyn.
Yeah.
And then you find out later on that the reason why Crichton looks like that dude is because he's actually the fucking ex boyfriend of the Sheila that designed the robots, and they had a break up and all this kind of stuff, and so she made Crichton in his image, but made him like even fucking dorkier and stupider and uglier and all this kind of stuff. And it turns out that Crichton's just like revenge attack on fucking his creator's ex boyfriend or something like that. So that brings all
Everlasting
that kind
revenge
of back into
porn.
it.
um,
Yes, so that ties all that up
mm,
later on, which is
yeah.
I think what I thought was clever.
Yeah. Which is really I don't know. It's like the only thing they tie up though. Um, having a discerning taste is part of having a personality. I don't have much of a personality. I'm a dickhead. Um, so I think we're on season 4 now.
Yep, Camille.
And this is where things get really fucking weird. Camille, I think, is a D episode.
Yeah, this is where they tried to bring Kaczynski back as a person again for the first time, because the one that Lister sees is supposed to be Kaczynski, but they couldn't get Claire back for some reason.
She was busy with some project, but yeah, it was his actual. They had their actual, real
Yeah, his
life
actual
like
girlfriend.
significant others come in and do the role. And there was a lot of bad acting in this because well, they weren't actors.
Nah.
The plot was really flimsy, and then they tack on at the very end that fucking the the whole episode's supposed to be a callback to Casablanca,
Yeah.
and at the end they make it like absolutely obvious. It's a D.
Well, the major point is that it's teaching Crichton the benefits of being
Being able to lie.
being able to lie. That there is a reason for a white lie to save someone's feelings and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
But then it's the the other characters, the female characters, that really kind of slow it down, because yes, they don't really act. They're not actors, and a lot of like, especially like Rimmer's fucking other half, just comes off as like, oh, this is just a horrible fucking fantasy that he's had, and like,
Yeah.
oh, no,
Um
fuck off, do not want.
and for being
It's
a
like,
Crichton centric episode, there's surprisingly very little of Crichton in it.
mm,
And I'm guessing they're like this is like the coming back after what a year break I think they took after this one or before this
this
one.
is 91, and then the last season was 89.
Yeah, so they took 2 years off. Um, hang on, let me double check something here. 88, 88, and then they don't come back again until 89.
Yep.
And then They don't come back again until 91. So this is
Yeah.
going on its second. This is coming back from its second cancellation.
Yeah.
And two cancellations in 3 seasons. Oof.
Because this was like one of the great fucking write-in recoveries. Like everyone fucking wrote in and demanded they bring it back, and that's the only reason why they kept making fucking new series, and they just keep canceling it, and everyone keeps going no, and that's the whole point of fucking Back to Earth. Here I keep saying this is the writers saying fucking get over it. We're fucking done. We don't want to do anymore. Look, fucking it's over, cunts. Get over it. And then they just went right. No, we want more.
Yeah. Dester says internet took another shit. What did I miss? We were just dunking on the fact that Red Dwarf had been canceled the second time by the time Camille had aired, and you can tell that they're just not in it. They don't really care about the property. They're tired of doing it. They want to do other things, and they can't because the BBC wants more episodes, because the population wants more episodes, and fuck it, we're gonna get it. And so I
I say
think
this.
go
I
ahead.
say this one fell flat because of the female actors and stuff.
I don't think it's just
Not
the
shitting on
female
women
actors.
in general. Not shitting on them in general. It's just that they weren't actors. They were pretty cringy in their acting, and yeah, just that.
They do feel chained to it. Yeah, the whole episode feels like obligation rather than like doing it for the fun of it. DNA. Uh like this is another D level episode. Crichton centric episode. And this time they managed to fuck it up.
Well, here's a like polymorph light.
Yeah, and they do carry a lot of the themes from Polymorph over because Crichton turns into a human in this episode.
Yeah,
And he's struggling with what it means to be human.
And Lister turns into half fucking RoboCop, and they have a curry monster which kind of looks a bit like the polymorph.
Yeah, at the very end, because they're like, well, we got to turn Crichton back to a robot. Let's test it on this curry. And then they fucking ruin the episode. Like, it's supposed to be a fairly, like, heavy episode with some elements of comedy. And I think they really ruin the episode in the very end when Lister's like, hey, does anyone have a pompanom? He's like eating the curry monster off of himself.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there were a couple of funny bits in it, like when Lister turns into part RoboCop, and then they find out he's only about 2 foot tall. But then there was the part where Rimmer's in the med bay and he's getting over he's like, talking about his nipples and fucking how one regulates temperature and the other one gets AM radio.
And then he shows Lister the double Polaroid of his dick.
Yeah. And I was like, well, what about this? Well, what were you thinking? I was just thinking about vacuum cleaners.
What really pisses me off about this episode was they had a studio mold of the RoboCop 2 suit, and they cut it up for Lister's part. And now Kick just crashed. If this keeps up, I'll probably drop out. Oh. I'm sorry to hear that, dude. I hate this episode. It's a D for me, dude.
Yeah, it's a D. There's only a couple of funny bits in it.
Yeah. And I'm not even judging these on how funny they are, because like there's one episode that could be hilarious. What the fuck was it? It was shit, that first one we put in C. Balance of Power. I thought that episode was hilarious, but it was like kind of bad. Now we're on
Justice.
This one was a mixed bag. I can't put it anywhere higher than a C, though.
Same here. I like the premise of it with the whole more world building kind of thing. How it's like another outside the JMC kind of instance, and how they would deal with like criminals in the future and all this kind of stuff, and having the magnetic boots and then being judged, and then Rimmer fucking like Rimmer's nuance where he blames himself for the fucking the drive plate failure, killing the
Right, where he
crew and all
felt
this kind of
guilty,
stuff.
but he wasn't culpable.
That's right, but because the system just believes this one straightforward thing that because he felt guilty, that must have been fucking actual guilt, and yeah, and then Crichton at the end has to basically say, look, he's just a fucking piece of shit scumbag human being. He's just taking the blame for shit that really he's not really at fault for, you know.
Yeah, I forget. Does Crichton wear a suit in that episode, or is he just?
I think they put like a gaffer tape tie on him. I think, or that might be Lister. I can't remember. I know he's not. I don't think he's
Because I'm
wearing a
having
suit.
trouble finding a picture of the episode, like of the episode. Where the fuck is it?
I'm pretty sure he isn't wearing a suit.
And they got a picture of him wearing a suit somewhere in here, and
That would have been the episode where they go back to the 1960s Dallas, and he's got to fit in.
Okay,
Or,
yeah, season
or,
7.
or it's the one where they come back from the future and they want to fix that time drive thing, and they talk about having dinner with Hitler and Goering and
No,
shit.
no, no, no. So it has like a really weird wall pattern, but I'm not sure that's it. I'm trying to figure out what the thumbnail they used for this fucking episode was.
Let me see. Fucking.
Oh man, this is dumb. Dester says the whole season was flat. Honestly, F for destroying the RoboCop costume. I I don't know, man. It's a D for me. Like it's watchable, but not it's not great.
I'd say a C.
See?
Fucking
I'm trying to find the fucking thumbnail. It'd be nice if I knew
same.
where it was. C. Oh man.
It'd be nice if they could fucking look if you hovered the fucking cursor over the bloody image, it'd tell you what it was from.
Yeah.
Um,
Justice, justice, justice.
fucking.
I have 2 thumbnails that I think could be it. But I think the one it's 4 in from the top on my screen. It's the green mechanoid, but I think that's the
No, that's not it. No, that's one
the ultra
ages
zone.
after where he's. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that's the ultra zone.
Yeah.
The only other one I can think of is the one where Crichton's wearing a suit and tie, and he's got like a badge or something on his shoulder.
Oh no, that's definitely not it. No, that's one from like real recent.
Is it?
That's one of the. Yeah, I think that's from that science. No, that's not. Yeah, the sciencey episode where that Sheila with the thing on her head sitting in the background. Or it's like some mechanoid thing where like mechanoids got all the rights and humans don't. Something like that.
Well, no, because they have that mechanoid episode down next to a newer picture of Holly as Norman Lovett Holly. So, where the fuck? I'm about to pick one at random.
Oh, that yeah. He next to fucking yeah. You see the one where there's the 2 Crichtons, the black and the red one, and then there's Rimmer when he's on that hollow ship. The Rimmer's in red on a red glow in the middle of those 2.
Oh, okay, yeah, I got it. I'm gonna say D. Where you said C, guys?
Yeah.
Oh man. All right, we'll put it in C. I still think it's a D, but we'll put it in C.
It's a good premise.
It's a good premise, but the execution is not there. Like the whole episode, my problem with it is the whole episode is predicated on the fact that Rimmer is an insufferable know-it-all who knows nothing. He holds himself accountable and is guilty.
Because of his delusions of grandeur.
Right. And the entire episode is explaining to the audience what we already know about him.
Mm.
Rimmer is Rimmer. And that's why I say it's a D. It's like, oh, you're not doing anything new for us. But I will put it in C for you guys. Because it's like whatever. White hole.
White hole, spewing time, engine Z, vice please.
Yeah, this episode's D. I don't even have to explain why it's a D. It's one of those episodes that goes. Huh?
Howdy doodly doo.
Yeah, it's one of those episodes that gets up its own ass and tries to recreate future echoes and does it poorly.
I kind of really like that. The whole, like, it's all skipping around, and now they have to fucking navigate the ship without any power and all that kind of stuff, and using Crichton as a battering ram, and Cat just not fucking getting it.
Yeah, those are good moments, but there's no cohesiveness to the whole episode. Like, it just, like, random acts of tomfoolery.
And Lister playing pool with planets.
Yeah, I guess, but again, there's no cohesiveness. It's just this bullshit happened, then this bullshit happened. Have a good night, Daster. Thanks for hanging out with us, buddy.
See you, man.
And then this bullshit happened, and then that bullshit happens, and like, it's a no for me, dog. All right, see you later, Smeghead. He said he'll catch us gits next time.
Yeah.
I don't know. Where would you put it?
I'll concede as a C.
You'll concede as a C. Fine. I don't really want to fight it. There, even still, like, there's a lot more D and below episodes, and this is kind of what I was saying that one time. There's a lot more C and below episodes than there are B and above.
Mm.
Which is really heartbreaking because I really like this show.
Well, I think this is we're looking through this in rose-tinted glasses kind of thing, as we've seen this a dozen fucking times, and had we probably done this just after the first time watching it, we'd probably have a lot different sort of attitude towards it. But like I mentioned, like that first time with the dog food scene was just fucking choke fucking laughing, but fucking now you can watch it and just go,
Yeah. Dimension Jump. I'm gonna say C because it just recreates Marooned now with another Arnold Rimmer, but an Arnold Rimmer that is like the exact opposite, and like exactly the exact opposite. It does build Arnold's lore a little bit more. It does give a little bit more backstory, and you figure out that, well, in school he would have been like left back a year if certain things weren't, if certain arguments weren't made for him to progress in school, and because he got left back a year, that's why he is the way he is, and that's why Ace is the way he is, because being left back helped him become a stronger person. So I think a C, maybe B if we're stretching it, but it is essentially Marooned all over again.
So I like the Ace Rimmer thing because, and if you'd like to just do me a quick favor, I'm going to chuck a fucking link in StreamYard.
Fuck no.
if you could just play about a minute or so of this. Because if it wasn't for Rimmer, we wouldn't have gotten this.
That better not be what I fucking think it is.
It's Rimmer's theme.
Oh, okay, yeah, I remember
There's
this.
2 pieces of music that we got from this.
Alright, well, I can't play too much because YouTube will fucking boot us. But,
That's alright, just... Yeah, it was just about a minute or so.
I can't even do that much. It's got to be 30 seconds or less, and even then you're
All
pushing it. Yeah.
Alright, we'll skip about a minute or so into it and then play about 30 seconds.
Okay.
Or 20 seconds.
So I'm gonna be yeah. Yeah. No, there were some. Yeah, there was definitely a nice piece of music, but I don't think it holds the episode.
But then there's the Rimmer's funeral theme. That was well fucking done.
Yeah.
Like, that'll bring a fucking tear to your eye just listening to it. But, like, that first bit, Rimmer's theme, if you listen to it in full, it sounds like fucking, if you just imagine 2 Spitfires just fucking dancing in the clouds. It's just
yeah.
like, oh.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh man. So where do you want to put it?
Well, I put it in a C.
You'll put it in C?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess C. I guess it's fair to put it in C. I don't think it would be fair to put it in D. It's not a great episode, but it's
again, it's outside the JMC and it's more world building and
yeah.
And it does lead on to more storylines in the future, and it sort of does give Rimmer a redeeming quality in some respect because eventually he becomes Ace Rimmer, and sort of there's character progression at the end of it because he like the fundamental cowardice in him is sort of like you see that, like, you know, for all of his bluster and fucking, you know, bloody delusions of grandeur, that like deep down inside he could actually be a fucking like a decent person and, like, you know, fucking
Oh yeah,
what
for
he thinks
sure.
he should be.
Yeah, he could, deep down inside he could be better than what he is.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll put it in B or C. Your favorite episodes next.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You're gonna get a lot
Meltdown.
of fucking pushback on this one.
I think
I just really like the whole fucking, like, you know, Mother Teresa is a fucking commando.
yeah, but this isn't really about whether or not you like certain parts of the episode. It's about whether or not they work. And I just didn't think Wax World worked. I'm willing to concede a C on it, but
Well, like, yeah, it's more like, you know, the whole, like, this place was left to its own devices. They ended up breaking their program, and then they just became humans, pretty
yeah.
much.
But what you're telling me is we have a planet full of Crichtons that Rimmer and his infinite wisdom destroys.
Yeah.
So tell me why it should be ranked higher than a C, if it's just more of the same bullshit.
Oh, well, they kill Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, but we never see Winnie the Pooh.
Do you really want to see Winnie the Pooh get hung?
I mean, kinda, yeah. I mean, I love Winnie the Pooh, so put him on screen and I'll suck your dick. Well, maybe not, but but the point is, like, I love Winnie the Pooh, man. It's like the only Disney property that I haven't abandoned. Why? Because Disney did it first.
Well, I think it's more a factor if this is a very unique sort of kind of a story. Like, no one's actually sort of done something like that before. Like, what if the robots in this wax world and fucking this, that, and the other thing, now they're all armed and they're they're fighting a world war, and it's all the bad guys from one world against all the good guys, and so it's Hitler against Santa Claus and fucking Gandhi and all that kind of stuff, and fucking seeing Gandhi get blown up, that's always fun. But
Yeah, seeing the boots left behind after Gandhi gets exploded was kind of a fun moment, but again, like, if we're just going based on fun moments, well, I could pick shit out of my ass.
Still, it's a different premise, I reckon.
I guess. You're not making the case for B or higher. It's just not happening.
I don't need to make the case. It's my opinion. Fuck you.
I'm putting it in C.
Alrighty.
It's a strong C, but it's still a C. I'm trying to remember more of the episode. Maybe, you know what? No, I'll push it up to B.
Elvis.
I'll push it up to B, just to give Baby his bottle.
Sergeant Presley. Where's a hamburger? I'll have it in 5 minutes. Oh, thank you very much.
Fucking farty. I still contend that it is a C minimum. Or maximum. Like, that's the highest that should go up there. But I'll put it in B to please the farty, because it's your favorite episode. Even though Queeg is one of my favorite episodes, I still put it in C, though. So, there's that. There's that to consider, farty. You farty.
Well, I have been doing a lot of conceding.
I know. I know. I'm giving you shit, dude. Let me give you shit, dude. I'm fucking grouchy. I'm hungry. My head hurts. Let me fucking give you shit, okay? Let me have this much. All right? All right? All right?
Mm.
Fuck you, farty. God damn, we're already on. Well, I say already, but it's taken us this long. It's taken us 2.5 hours to get to season
Holy
5.
fuck.
Yeah, I know, right?
Didn't feel that long.
2.5 hours to get to season 5. I think we'll do season 5 and then we'll wrap up and we'll do season 5 and then we'll come back to this on Tuesday sometime or whenever the fuck I feel like sending you a link next, which may or may not be Tuesday or before Tuesday. We'll see, right?
Okay.
All
right. Season 5, Hollow Ship.
Yeah, Hollow Ship. That was actually a pretty good episode. I want to say it's an A.
Same. Yeah, because it's another progression of Rimmer and, how he could be, but fucking, he's, if you've given him the chance, he'll try and take it, but even then he'll still just be a Weasley little fucking cheat about it and all this kind of stuff.
Well, even
but
still, when you take into consideration that he left the Hollow Ship of his own accord when he found out that the woman he loved was going to be deleted.
Yeah, and that's where I'm saying, with the whole Ace Rimmer, that the things he could have been, and that's now so you could see it that as a takeaway from fucking the Ace Rimmer episode, where he's actually starting to gain some morals, and you could see that actually he could be fucking Ace Rimmer.
Yeah. Notably, season 5 is where Grant comes back to help Doug with the writing.
Yeah.
And so it does show, and there's going to be a lot of solid episodes in season 5, I think. They needed it too. Yeah, I don't think we need to say much else about Hollow Ship. It's a great fucking episode. The next one is the Inquisitor. And this one's, I think, is an A.
Yeah, this one's a solid one.
There's a lot of time travel bullshit in here, but it actually goes somewhere. Like, they actually go out of their way to highlight the paradoxes of time travel. That's one of the reasons this show is good, or this episode is good. The other reason is it's, again, a very Crichton-centric episode, I think, in my opinion.
Well, again, it's another. It's a different fucking sort of thing. It's like it's something that's very, very
right.
unique in its aspect. That like
The
that there's no determination. Everything is like basically this like it's kind of like the oh, fuck, what's it called? It's not the single tachyon theory. It's oh, there's a theory that like there's this particle called a tachyon
right.
that moves even faster than light, and basically it's writing everything in real time. Like, say for instance, you know how a laser makes a picture, and it's just
Yeah.
really just it's just moving at a really fast rate. Yeah. There's one tachyon that's writing the universe in real time, and it's just happening so fast we just don't perceive that there's any gaps in the thing. And sort of so the Inquisitor is kind of like the tachyon that's writing and rewriting history and all this kind of stuff, and it judges you like God. So that gives you that premise of religion and all this, where a lot of other places, like say with Stargate, where like it's the gods aren't really gods; they're just fucking like a higher technology and all this kind of stuff. And this omnipotent being, fucking being everywhere and anywhere, and has the time, the spatial fucking premise of being everywhere all at once to rectify everything that's always ever happened, and all this kind of shit. And just like with every god that's in that way, that's not exactly a god, but just has better technology and all this kind of stuff, it can be defeated.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have anything to add to it. It's a great fucking episode. Um Next one is Terraform. I think this is the only like stinker of the season. It's hard to place this one. It's like it's it has a lot of really solid moments. Like what really makes me like question this episode is toward the end, right? Where the crew is like talking uh Rimmer up to like
Mm.
get, to help boost his confidence so that the moon they're on like goes, "Oh, well, maybe I'm not a worthless piece of shit." Cuz right, that's the whole premise of Rimmer at that point. And the whole episode is Rimmer believes he's a useless piece of shit, and that's why the moon is out to get him. The psychic moon or the psi moon, whatever the fuck they call it in the episode.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that does a little bit of character building for Rimmer, right? But
This one, oh, yeah, go, sorry.
no, go ahead.
This one falls flat for me because the joke's been done before.
Right,
Like
and
the actual overall joke, where it's like, oh, you spend time talking, telling this bloke all this nice stuff and all this, and then the end of it's like, did you really think all of that? No, fuck no, because you knew that's coming.
right. And that's kind of why it's hard for me to place. It's the best Rimmer centric episode there is. Um,
Except when you see him in drag.
we haven't got to quarantine yet.
Oh, that's right, that's that one. This is the
um,
one where they. Oh, is there any reason why I should be all slippery and pliant?
no, no, no. Well, judging by the oil, what your master has in plan for me requires my being pliant. And it's really hard for me to place this episode because on one hand, you have it's my same complaint with the Wax World or the Meltdown episode with the it's just been done. It's just been done to death, and it would be a great episode if it were an original concept. But the entirety of the show to this point and beyond has been and becomes, well, you're just a useless piece of shit, Rimmer. Um, Up until the point where he leaves Red Dwarf, right? He leaves the show to go do the Tomb Raider movie.
I kind of think that anything that like that that fucking has anything to do with like Rimmer's sexual fantasies is just fucking cringe and creepy as shit, and it's just like kind of thing.
I
And
don't
this is
know.
kind of like the Moon kind of is. It's a look into his psyche. So this is all in his head,
Right.
and this is how he, and it's like fuck, do not
Yeah.
want.
Yeah, so it's really hard for me to place this episode. It's a good episode if it hadn't been done throughout the entirety of the series up to this point and beyond.
Or even in
Um,
other places.
yeah.
Because, like I
So,
said, this joke's been done in other TV shows, and you fucking know
right.
it's coming.
Right. I'm just talking in the context of Red Dwarf. I think I think maybe D. Even that
Yeah,
might be generous.
yeah.
I think maybe F. I think keeping it off the list would be appropriate for this one. Um it just doesn't have any place on the tier. It's that it's it's weird because it's honestly a good episode, but it fails because of its predecessors. If that makes any sense.
Mm,
Does that make sense to you?
a little bit.
Like, it's good, but because everything else before it was just done and it was shit, or it was done and it was okay, there's no originality in it. And I think that's got to be one of the criteria for the episodes. Is there got to be some originality to it.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so these two episodes back to back are actually two of my favorite episodes.
Yep.
Um, S tier for quarantine. I don't care what anyone says. S tier.
Yep.
This is the episode where they go down to this frozen planet. They find out there's another hologram there. Hologram could help with medical shit, and they figure out some sort of timeshare thing. They send Rimmer back to the fucking Red Dwarf, so they could like get his light bead or whatever. And this is the first time we're introduced to the light bead. The first time we're introduced to the concept that Rimmer has a small physical presence, and that is the light bead. And they want to use it to bring back this doctor. Turns out the doctor's gone batshit crazy and has lightning eye beam blasts and wants to fucking turn the crew inside out. And then all of a sudden, the fucking virus jumps from the doctor to Rimmer because he talked to her on the comm link. And I think he says something to the extent of Dr. Fruit Loop.
Yeah.
Where would you put it, Farty?
Yep. Same.
Same? You think S? Okay.
Yeah.
It was a great
Because
episode.
especially because of the gingham dress.
The gingham dress, yes. But you know what I think puts it over?
What?
Mr. Flibbles.
Mr. Flibble.
Let me get this straight. You want to fly on a magic carpet to see the king of the potato people, and you're telling me you're not crazy? That
What was
warrants
that, Mr.
3
Flibble?
hours. WOO. What's WOO? Farty,
With
say it.
Out. Oxygen.
I love that episode. That is, it is these two. Okay, so this and the next one we're gonna talk about right now, Demons and Angels, my favorite two episodes in this fucking season.
Yeah, this one contains my favorite line of all in this.
First, I'm going to hurt you, and then I'm going to have you.
First, I'm going to whip you within an inch of your life, and then I'm going to have you. I can't wait to fucking say that to someone in real life. Oh, yeah. That's one of the
Um,
war crimes I'm going to commit when we get fucking invaded. Oh yeah,
I
I'm fucking playing that shit.
I really love Demons and Angels, but I think it's an A tier. I don't think it's
Mm,
quite as good as Quarantine, but I do think it's a solid episode,
yep,
and it's one of my favorites. And
yeah,
it's tied for my favorite episode with Quarantine. I don't know
yeah.
how else to put it. This
No,
is the
that
one,
that that's it's also another original premise as well.
right, where they have the fucking replicator and they try to like reverse it or whatever,
Yep,
and it just
and
kind of
you get
like,
two polar opposites, and fucking that's like you get to see the two polar opposites of what, like, if you split their psyches in half,
yeah,
what's the good side and what's the bad side, and
yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. Definitely an A, I think. What would you say?
yep, hey,
A? Okay. There is consensus. Um, I don't know how I feel about this next episode, even though it gave us Dwayne Dibley. Um, we've got Back to Reality.
yeah, I like this one because again, it's an original premise. Of like, they come across an alien species that has this
No,
as a defensive mechanism.
no, this is a different one. This is not the one you're thinking of. Um,
Yeah,
this,
this is the despair squid one, isn't it?
let's see, hang on, let me read the synopsis real quick. Do, 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 do.
Come
The
across
crew takes
the
Starbug down to the
embargo's
water.
coming.
Yep, this is the Despair Squid one. You are correctamundo. Um,
Yeah,
huh. Yep, it's the Despair Squid one. I forgot all about the Despair Squid. My fault. Even though we talked about it like an hour and a half ago.
and
Um,
again, this is like an end episode too, and I think this is probably where they thought they might get canned again. So it was a solid ending.
yeah,
Fucking where it made you think that, like, oh fuck, well, this was all just a fucking simulation the whole fucking time, oh well, blah blah blah, blah. So now we get to see what they were like in real life, and then yeah, it just turns out that it's a defensive mechanism from this alien creature that they've come across, and
oh no, it was genetically
fucking,
modified.
well, yeah, well, okay,
Yeah,
they're genetically modified, and just the premise of something having like an ink that makes you suicidal and just prevents you from just fucking being of any effectiveness, and all this kind of stuff. And
yeah,
sort of like a
and then you find out that Rimmer has kind of a good core.
mm,
Like here's some more world building for Rimmer, where you find out that he does have more of a moral good core, and that is he finds out that he's aiding, right, the mass extinction of people for the sake of politics.
yeah. And
Um,
now the delusions of grandeur have moved to Crichton, where he's like
yeah,
cybernautics, and it's like, yeah, that's traffic control, dude.
yeah.
You're a traffic warden.
Um, this guy figures out that he is um Rimmer's character figures out that he's Lister in reality. Lister finds out that he's a genocidal maniac. Kat finds out he's a nerd named Dwayne Dibley. And they all want to no longer breathe.
Yeah,
It's a solid episode. I have a hard time placing it though. Where would you place it?
I'd put that A.
You put it in A? All right, we'll put it
Mm.
in A. Um, yeah. I think
And then also the premise too, that when they wake up in the fucking simulation and the yob comes in and is like, oh, didn't you fucking do this? Didn't you do that? Oh, everyone does this by fucking episode 2, kind of thing.
yeah.
And it turns out that, like, they've fucked it up that bad that they're still on level 1
Didn't you think it
after
was
all these years.
yeah. Don't tell me you were playing the Pratt version of it. And then the line where he's like, "Well, didn't you think it was odd that he had 2 swimming certificates even though he didn't know how to swim?"
Hmm.
Which I thought was also kind of like world building for Rimmer. It's like, oh, a little tidbit we didn't know about him already.
Hmm.
That like the little things sometimes get like swept under the radar.
Yeah.
Um,
And the bloke who comes in and explains all of that, apparently he wasn't actually a proper actor and all this kind of stuff, and he kept running his lines too fast and tripping over himself. And even then, like the take that they've got is still like far quicker than what they were intending him to say it because he was nervous.
yeah. Um, yeah, I think it's a great episode. It's really hard for me to place, but I think it's an A. A is
Yeah.
fine. Um, I think that's gonna do it for tonight. Like, we'll be back soon ish. Probably Tuesday, maybe earlier, maybe not. Definitely whenever the fuck we feel like going live. So till next time, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll catch you soon.